November 19th, 2018. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Can the Kyoto Protocol or the Paris Agreement restrain climatic deterioration? It is an unrealistic and completely impossible joke to think so. And those projects to restrain global warming from some countries are even less possible. The core factor in climatic degradation is not carbon emissions and the pollution of land, air, and water. Nor is it a matter of cattle and sheep digesting and producing methane gas, but rather, it is one of the human soul. Your state of consciousness determines your living environment, and the overall reality is a projection of humanity's consciousness. Without changes of human consciousness and the purification of people's souls, it will be absolutely impossible to reverse the deterioration of our climate and our environment. This is an issue that can be resolved very easily. So what data analyses, computer simulations, and dedicated researches are needed? Will it be necessary for the United Nations to organize international conferences and meetings to discuss and formulate programs repeatedly? Our environmental problem is one of people's souls, and the first thing necessary is to reverse and to purify them, but this cannot be accomplished by the UN or by any state or states, but only by everyone involving and purifying their own souls individually. This purification of human souls must be carried out from theoretical directions and with new orders of construction, both at the same time. As for theoretical guidance, I have offered a plan to prepare everyone, but they need to learn from me and abide by me. The order of construction is to replace the traditional production and life modes of society with a new one according to the model of the new oasis for life as created by Life Genuine. This is the only way to reverse the deterioration of our environment. Honestly, though, it is too late to take action even if society were to begin immediately. I have shouted and appealed for at least the last decade, but instead of listening, most have wrecked the theories and practical demonstrations of Life Genuine. What can be done now is not to restrain climatic and environmental degradation, but to save a small group of people as seeds for human continuation, or extinction will be our destiny. The crisis is here and now. If people still remain completely indifferent, then disasters such as the fires near Paradise Town in California, USA will recur frequently. Remember, no place in the world is safe. Where there are no fires, rivers might flood. Where there are no droughts, violent storms might blow. Where there are no earthquakes, volcanoes might erupt. And where there are no plagues, intensely hot summers or bitterly cold winters might become normal. This does not even address the eventualities of massive theft, murders, and wars. In short, there is no way to escape from these disasters. Those who want to live must follow my guidance. I am the messenger of the greatest creator, the incarnation of God, Buddha, celestials, sages, and saints, and the greatest spiritual guide of our time. Please do not hoard what you possess, but dedicate your wealth so that we can build our new mode of production and life on Earth as soon as possible. Do not be short-sighted and accuse me of wanting to accumulate wealth by taking yours. I want nothing from you, but you need to use your wealth to save yourself. I hope that the UN will cooperate with us. There are many places on Earth which are disputed between nations and tribes, but can be administered by them. So let us build new modes of production and life in these disputed places as soon as possible so that we can have kindling materials for the continuation of our species. It will not matter if people continue to turn deaf ears and use their small minds to deny my warnings and assumptions because they will learn the truth, but it will be too late by then. Have foresight and take action now. November 19th, 2018.
共产主义在这里已全面实现。
Communism has been fully realized here. Xiefeng. The pursuit of an ideal society has been an everlasting ideological subject for sages and saints of mankind. The establishment of an ideal society has always been a direction and goal aspired by great politicians. Mankind has never stopped its exploration and pursuit of an ideal society, from the ideal of great harmony practiced by China's sage Confucius, to the ideal of republic advocated by ancient Greek philosopher Plato, to utopia proposed by Thomas More of England, to utopian socialism of Saint Simon and Fourier, to communism founded by Marx in Germany. There have been various attempts to establish an ideal society, from New Harmony Village created in Indiana of America by Robert Owen of England, to collective farms launched by Stalin of Russia, to People's Commune established by Mao Zedong in China, to Mountain Shore Village in Japan, and to kibbutz in Israel. Actually, Kingdom of God, described by Jesus Christ in the Bible, the Elysium world mentioned by Buddha in Buddhist Sutra, the society of harmony portrayed by Lao Tzu and Tao Te Ching are all ideal societies. Now we can say that one common goal, namely the highest ideal of life mankind can achieve, has been described and pursued by great harmony, republic, utopia, ideal land, harmonious society, communism, the kingdom of God, and the Elysium world. The highest ideal society pursued by mankind must have the following 18 characteristics. Public ownership is the prevailing way under Tao. There is no private ownership, all properties are shared. There is no marriage, no family, no political party, no religion, no state, no organization of any form. There is no currency. The talented are put to good use, and the whole world will be one family. No one will pocket anything found on the road, and doors will not be bolted at night. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. Recommend and assign the talented to important tasks, advocate good faith and harmony. The old are taken care of, the strong are put to good use, and the widowed, orphaned, sick, and handicapped are well provided. All members have meals at public dining halls. Normally, the work hours will be limited within 6 hours per day. Rich and plentiful material wealth without extravagance and waste. Extremely harmonious social relations and high spiritual realm. Rich and colorful cultural entertainment and games. Everyone develops freely in an all-round manner. Everyone brings his or her talent into full play. All things are put to good use. Everyone has a joyful, happy, free, and blessed life. Everyone is in the service of the others, and no one owes anyone anything. The environment is clean, tidy, elegant, and serene, like an earthly paradise. It can be said that the above 18 conditions have been basically realized in the life of the second home created by Life Genuine. In another word, communism has been fully implemented in the second home, or it may be said, the kingdom of the greatest creator has descended upon the earth. As the founder of communism Marx has said, without belief in God, the greatest creator, and without identity with Christ, mankind cannot possess truly perfect virtue to pursue truth and light. Only God, the greatest creator, can save us. The facts have proved this to be true. The complete realization of mankind's ideal society in the sea and home of Life Genuine is the very fruit of our reverence for the greatest creator and our observance of the way of the greatest creator. Of course, we have another secret. That is, we have imitated and copied the life and production model of the thousand-year world of the heavenly kingdom. Today, I hereby proclaim to the whole mankind, communism has been realized in the second home, and the kingdom of the greatest creator has descended upon the earth. August 24th, 2011.
人类错失了一次良机。
Humanity has missed a great chance. Xiefeng. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. If you have been keeping up with global climate change and the dynamics of our political state, you must feel that the crisis is getting worse and worse. Tomorrow or death. It is sometimes difficult to predict which will come first as you retire for the evening. On October 18th of this year, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, of the United Nations released a report in Incheon, South Korea, IPCC global warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius, which says that global warming must not be allowed to exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius or mankind will succumb to an extremely pitiful doomsday by the year 2040. Can we keep global warming under 1.5 degrees Celsius? It is out of control, a dream. 2040 is only 22 years away. Attention, please. If the end comes in 22 years, then for many people, next year, or perhaps even tomorrow will be the end of their time, and they might not even see tomorrow's sunrise. This is not a bluff or prophecy from some historical prophets or the ravings of spirits and deities about fortunes and disasters, but the conclusion drawn by experts from more than 40 countries who have accumulated more than 6,000 pieces of data. In fact, I personally warned people clearly in early April 2009 that the so-called apocalypse of 2012 would not happen but would be replaced in a gradual, reciprocating, and increasingly serious way. Almost a decade has passed, so let us find out how precisely the climate changes over the last decade have conformed to my predictions. In addition, at the end of 2017, I warned humanity once again that from 2018 on, the Earth would enter a new era and that dramatic changes would take place during the first 3 decades. You can look back at the climate changes of 2018. Can you sense the smell of the coming storm? From now on, the changes will get worse and worse until the extremely pitiful doomsday happens. Actually, if people had followed my guidance 10 years ago, then they would have avoided their current suffering, but they missed their great chance. How do I know all this? Because I am the messenger of the greatest creator, the incarnation of the God, Buddha, celestial beings, and saints. It does not matter if you think that I am bluffing and that my purpose is to deceive you and gain money or carnal pleasure. That is your right and freedom. However, people with spirituality know the truth, and it is not hard for rational people to understand what I have said and written for more than the last decade and draw their own conclusions. Now, it is unnecessary to repeat what I warned of in the past. All epic-making theories and practices are relegated to history. If I had merely pointed out the problem but had not offered any solution to it, then I would be unworthy of the title of messenger and incarnation. The problem is that I showed the way to solve the crisis and even created a model, but if people either did not believe me or simply ignored me, then it is not my problem, but theirs. It can be said that the greatest creator, through his messengers, has warned mankind and shown them the way forward. Gods, Buddha, celestial beings, and saints through their incarnations have done their best, and no matter how humanity will suffer, no one can blame them for neither helping you nor saving you. The United Nations has met many times to formulate plans and appeals to try to solve the problem of climate change. The most famous of those was the Paris Agreement. As I said in my article, all the efforts of the UN could not accomplish enough. This is because the root of climate change lies in mankind's traditional production and life mode. In order to stop climate change, we must change that production and life mode. Any other measures and methods are futile. Of course, the final end can be delayed for several years, but it cannot solve the root problem. So how do we change the traditional production and life mode of mankind? With my guidance, angel-like Chanyun celestials have established a model for humanity, the new oasis of life, formerly the second home model. From this model, we have a wealth of written reports, pictures, illustrations, and video presentations. In this regard, however, the United Nations, governments of major countries, experts and scholars, and billions of myopic people have been completely indifferent. So, if 2040 becomes the extremely pitiful doomsday, can we not say that mankind deserves it? Is mankind not beyond redemption? It is too late to reverse climate change now, regardless of what efforts are made. However, mankind will not die out. People will still multiply on the earth, and within another 40 years, they will usher in a brilliant era and live happier lives than have never existed before. Unfortunately, though, not many people who are alive today will survive to that time, and whether you will be one of them will depend completely upon your fortune, but even those who have fluky luck might not survive unharmed. Causality is everything. We must rely on the laws and rules of nature. Divine punishments, though slow, are always sure, with big meshes, yet letting nothing slip through. It is customary for executioners to offer condemned prisoners one final good meal before they put them to death. So all of you should just enjoy your meals and have fun, day by day, every day.
生命禅院创始人雪峰再次自白。
The second confession of Xuefeng, the founder of Life Changyuan. Xuefeng. Xuefeng is not any kind of god, Buddha, or celestial being. He was not sent to Earth by higher-level life beings. He is very down to earth instead. Xuefeng doesn't have any supernatural power and never has shown any as well. Xuefeng has told his personal story very clearly. He was born in a poor family near the Yellow River, Gansu Province, China. He also have told his history clearly to all Chanyuan celestials, and he doesn't have anything mysterious to hide. Xuefeng doesn't have a master. What he said or wrote are all what he learned from life experience. Xuefeng doesn't have any political background, nor does he have any political or other kind of organization as his support. Xuefeng is not the spokesman of the greatest creator as some people think wishfully. He has never said that he was the spokesman. Xuefeng is not any kind of savior, as some people think wishfully, and has never said that and accepted that title. Xuefeng is not a master, and against people call him master. Xuefeng claimed himself a tour guide, and said more than once that he doesn't have the goodness what a master possesses. Xuefeng call himself the messenger of the greatest creator, the embodiment of Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, Lao Tzu, and the Prophet Muhammad. The reason is that he has written an 100,000 Chinese word chapter called The Greatest Creator. He thinks it is the most comprehensive and profound description about the greatest creator. Although so, he has never given orders in the name of the messenger of the greatest creator. He has very insightful understanding of Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, Lao Tzu, and the Prophet Muhammad, and resonates with their thoughts and wills. That is why he call himself the embodiment. As for Xuefeng said that he is from the heaven, 10,000-year world, that is the truth. If people don't understand and have nowhere to verify it, it is up to them to think Xuefeng is talking nonsense. March 24th, 2011.
我与武汉冠状病毒的对话。
My conversation with Wuhan coronavirus. Xiefeng. January 24th, 2020. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Xiefeng. Hello, Wuhan coronavirus. Where do you come from and what is your name? Coronavirus. We are Plague God 008, and we have been lurking within people for many millennia. Xiefeng. Why have you emerged now? Plague God 008. Because the conditions for our emergence have been met. Xiefeng. What do you mean? What are these conditions? Plague God 008. Just as when a person does not bathe or change clothes for a long time, lice will emerge because the conditions for the emergence of lice become ripe. Xiefeng. I am still confused. Are you lurking within humans' bodies? Plague God 008. Yes, we have been and we are. Xiefeng. So, you were not passed on from animals such as bats, snakes, or Pagoma larvata to people. Plague God 008. Of course not. We awakened from within people's bodies. Xiefeng. Since you have been lurking in people's bodies for so long, why have you only appeared now, but never before? Plague God 008. The conditions for our emergence had never been ripe before. Xiefeng. What conditions for your emergence have ripened? Plague God 008. Qi. We will emerge naturally as long as these 8 qi exist. Strong enough stench qi. Bitter enough hatred qi. Violent enough temper qi. Scary enough nerve qi. Evil enough heart qi. Dense enough lung qi. Weak enough kidney qi. Feeble enough liver qi. Xiefeng. So, when someone has what you call the 8 qi, you will appear in their body? Plague God 008. Yes. Xiefeng. So no viral transmission occurs? Plague God 008. Transmission is only how we awaken. Once this happens, we attempt to awaken others who lurk within other people's bodies. Whether they can be awakened or not depends on those 8 qi and people within whom they had lurked sufficiently to meet our conditions. Xiefeng. So, many people will not be infected even if they are in contaminated areas? Plague God 008. Correct. Most teenagers have strong nerve qi, sturdy kidney qi, clear lung qi, and are not infected easily, but many middle-aged and older people have thick stench qi, strong hatred qi, weak kidney qi, dense lung qi, feeble nerve qi, and are infected easily. Xiefeng, how do you transmit, as you said, to awaken within others? Plague God 008. Through information. Xiefeng, I do not understand this. Could you explain it more clearly? Plague God 008. We do not enter into people's bodies through their mouths or wounds, but through their eyes and ears. Xiefeng, now I am even more confused. How can you enter people's bodies through their eyes and ears? Plague God 008. When phenomena are witnessed by one's eyes or messages are heard by their ears, then we actually enter into the recipient's minds and awaken. Xiefeng. If this is so, then is the reason that people are infected by viruses not because pathogens have entered into their bodies, but because those that have lurked within their bodies have awakened after their carriers see infected people's situations and hear the information about the viral transmissions? Plague God 008. Yes, so those who see the so-called patients, such as doctors, relatives, and friends become susceptible to infection, as do those who hear about the disease, and the more and clearer the information that they get is, the more their chances become of succumbing to us. Xiefeng. These unheard of ways of transmission are incredible. Plague God 008. People can be scared to death, but how? The more panic and fear they have, and the more confused they become, the easier it is for us to sneak in. Fear is one of the most effective ways for us to control people. Xiefeng. So people who are not afraid of you are not easily infected? Plague God 008. Of those who possess pure minds and stick to the one at absolute peace, being unselfish and free from ego, full of joy and happiness, we are powerless. Xiefeng. Will no medicine work on you? Plague God 008. We are invisible, odorless, colorless, and tasteless. What medicine would you use? Material medicines will not work against us, but non-material medicines can play a role. Xiefeng. I see. Thanks for telling me so frankly. How long will you stay? Plague God 008. It is not for us to decide. If the stench chi is strong, then we might grow and persevere. If it fades away, then who is to stay? Therefore, we might stay for only 3 months and be gone, or we might stay for 3 years. That depends on people's 8 chi. For instance, if people's hatred chi declines, we will be unable to stay. Xiefeng, one more question. Why are you called Plague God 008? Plague God 008. There is no doubt that we are gods. As for 008, this is because there are also plague gods 009, 010, 011, 012, and many others. Humans call 009 pestilence, 010 is smallpox, 011 is flu, and on through the list. Xiefeng, who are plague gods 007, 006, 005, and so on. Plague god 008. Those plague gods are much fiercer than we are but have not awakened yet. They will rise when their conditions ripen. Xiefeng, are you the SARS virus which came in 2003? Plague God 008. Yes, we changed our structure slightly so that more of us could awaken. People will have trouble recognizing us after our structures change, and we are not in a hurry to awake more versions of us. We will do it quietly so that it will be impossible for anyone to defend against us effectively. Xiefeng, it is said that your birthplace, Wuhan City, has been sealed off so that you cannot get spread out. Will it not be difficult for you to wake the rest of you up in the rest of the world? Plague God 008. There is no way to seal us off. We are invisible. So isolation is only people's self-paralysis and self-anesthesia. Our emergence is concerned with people's 8 chi, not about regions or the sizes of population centers. Xiefeng, I suppose that you resent or even envy the large population on the earth, so you have come to reduce it. Plague God 008. We abide by our laws strictly, do not have any moods, and have nothing to do with big or small population centers on Earth. We may emerge in many people or few people, however it is easier to spread the 8 chi and induce the conditions for our emergence in places where many people gather. Xiefeng, I want to know why you chose to emerge in Wuhan, a transportation hub through which so many people travel back and forth, especially just before and after the Chinese Spring Festival when a large number of people pass through it. This seems to be a deliberate attempt to maximize your devastation. Plague God 008. Do not blame us unjustly, we never did that on purpose. For us, the proper conditions are the only factors that will bring us forth. As for matters of the earth, humans, or China, they are not our concern. Xiefeng, is this a coincidence? A random event? But there are no chances or coincidences in the universe. Everything is inevitable. Plague God 008. We have no idea. You will have to ask the higher gods.
我与武汉冠状病毒的对话。
My conversation with Wuhan coronavirus. Xiefeng, January 24th, 2020. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Xiefeng, hello, Wuhan coronavirus. Where do you come from and what is your name? Coronavirus. We are Plague God 008, and we have been lurking within people for many millennia. Xiefeng, why have you emerged now? Plague God 008. Because the conditions for our emergence have been met. Xiefeng, what do you mean? What are these conditions? Plague God 008. Just as when a person does not bathe or change clothes for a long time, lice will emerge because the conditions for the emergence of lice become ripe. Xiefeng, I am still confused. Are you lurking within humans' bodies? Plague God 008. Yes, we have been and we are. Xiefeng. So, you were not passed on from animals such as bats, snakes, or Pagoma larvata to people. Plague God 008. Of course not. We awakened from within people's bodies. Xiefeng. Since you have been lurking in people's bodies for so long, why have you only appeared now, but never before? Plague God 008. The conditions for our emergence had never been ripe before. Xiefeng, what conditions for your emergence have ripened? Plague God 008. Qi. We will emerge naturally as long as these 8 qi exist. Strong enough stench qi. Bitter enough hatred qi. Violent enough temper qi. Scary enough nerve qi. Evil enough heart qi. Dense enough lung qi. Weak enough kidney qi. Feeble enough liver qi. Xiefeng. So, when someone has what you call the 8 qi, you will appear in their body? Plague God 008. Yes. Xiefeng. So no viral transmission occurs? Plague God 008. Transmission is only how we awaken. Once this happens, we attempt to awaken others who lurk within other people's bodies. Whether they can be awakened or not depends on those 8 qi and people within whom they had lurked sufficiently to meet our conditions. Xiefeng. So, many people will not be infected even if they are in contaminated areas? Plague God 008. Correct. Most teenagers have strong nerve qi, sturdy kidney qi, clear lung qi, and are not infected easily, but many middle-aged and older people have thick stench qi, strong hatred qi, weak kidney qi, dense lung qi, feeble nerve qi, and are infected easily. Xiefeng, how do you transmit, as you said, to awaken within others? Plague God 008. Through information. Xiefeng, I do not understand this. Could you explain it more clearly? Plague God 008. We do not enter into people's bodies through their mouths or wounds, but through their eyes and ears. Xiefeng, now I am even more confused. How can you enter people's bodies through their eyes and ears? Plague God 008. When phenomena are witnessed by one's eyes or messages are heard by their ears, then we actually enter into the recipient's minds and awaken. Xiefeng, if this is so, then is the reason that people are infected by viruses not because pathogens have entered into their bodies, but because those that have lurked within their bodies have awakened after their carriers see infected people's situations and hear the information about the viral transmissions? Plague God 008. Yes, so those who see the so-called patients, such as doctors, relatives, and friends, become susceptible to infection, as do those who hear about the disease, and the more and clearer the information that they get is, the more their chances become of succumbing to us. Xiefeng, these unheard of ways of transmission are incredible. Plague God 008. People can be scared to death, but how? The more panic and fear they have, and the more confused they become, the easier it is for us to sneak in. Fear is one of the most effective ways for us to control people. Xiefeng. So people who are not afraid of you are not easily infected? Plague God 008. Of those who possess pure minds and stick to the one at absolute peace, being unselfish and free from ego, full of joy and happiness, we are powerless. Xiefeng. Will no medicine work on you? Plague God 008. We are invisible, odorless, colorless, and tasteless. What medicine would you use? Material medicines will not work against us, but non-material medicines can play a role. Xiefeng, I see. Thanks for telling me so frankly. How long will you stay? Plague God 008. It is not for us to decide. If the stench chi is strong, then we might grow and persevere. If it fades away, then who is to stay? Therefore, we might stay for only 3 months and be gone, or we might stay for 3 years. That depends on people's 8 chi. For instance, if people's hatred chi declines, we will be unable to stay. Xiefeng, one more question. Why are you called Plague God 008? Plague God 008. There is no doubt that we are gods. As for 008, This is because there are also plague gods 009, 010, 011, 012, and many others. Humans call 009 pestilence, 010 is smallpox, 011 is flu, and on through the list. Xiefeng, who are plague gods 007, 006, 005, and so on. Plague god 008. Those plague gods are much fiercer than we are but have not awakened yet. They will rise when their conditions ripen. Xiefeng, are you the SARS virus which came in 2003? Plague God 008. Yes, we changed our structure slightly so that more of us could awaken. People will have trouble recognizing us after our structures change, and we are not in a hurry to awake more versions of us. We will do it quietly so that it will be impossible for anyone to defend against us effectively. Xiefeng, it is said that your birthplace, Wuhan City, has been sealed off so that you cannot get spread out. Will it not be difficult for you to wake the rest of you up in the rest of the world? Plague God 008. There is no way to seal us off. We are invisible. So isolation is only people's self-paralysis and self-anesthesia. Our emergence is concerned with people's 8 chi, not about regions or the sizes of population centers. Xiefeng, I suppose that you resent or even envy the large population on the earth, so you have come to reduce it. Plague God 008. We abide by our laws strictly, do not have any moods, and have nothing to do with big or small population centers on Earth. We may emerge in many people or few people, however it is easier to spread the 8 chi and induce the conditions for our emergence in places where many people gather. Xiefeng, I want to know why you chose to emerge in Wuhan, a transportation hub through which so many people travel back and forth, especially just before and after the Chinese Spring Festival when a large number of people pass through it. This seems to be a deliberate attempt to maximize your devastation. Plague God 008. Do not blame us unjustly, we never did that on purpose. For us, the proper conditions are the only factors that will bring us forth. As for matters of the earth, humans, or China, they are not our concern. Xiefeng, is this a coincidence? A random event? But there are no chances or coincidences in the universe. Everything is inevitable. Plague God 008. We have no idea. You will have to ask the higher gods.
上帝使者再次警示人类，
Another warning to mankind from the messenger of the greatest creator, Dayform Buddha, January 1st, 2020. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. More than 2,500 years ago, a messenger from the greatest creator warned mankind about today's situation. Today, I have come to fulfill those ancient warnings. Floods, fires, wars, plagues, unrest, earthquakes, and other disasters which began in 2009 will continue to play their roles from the warnings which had been given to you a long time ago. Those people whose souls and hearts show only darkness, who pursue material pleasures, who fail to keep their faith, and who are selfish and egotistical, will reap all that they have sown. Let me lead those of you who still have rays of light in your souls onto a brighter path. Take the way of the greatest creator, not the ways of mankind, gods, Buddha, celestial beings, or demons. Revere the greatest creator, not your worldly leaders. Read the books without words, not the ones written by man. Forget all religions, for they have all become corrupted. None of them retain any truth any longer. Escape from marriages and families. They will lower you down to hell, not raise you up to heaven. Stop pursuing material pleasures. They will devour your spirits and souls and drag you into darkness. Pursue wealth of spirit and soul to the greatest extent. Only they can make your souls healthy and pure and lead you to heaven. Woe unto those people who possess great material wealth, for their sins are great, and their misfortunes will never come singularly. Woe unto those people with great power, for they oppress the good, deceive the public, force the pure into prostitution, compel the honest to become thieves, and they will shirk responsibility for their transgressions hardly. Woe unto those people who break their promises, for they are lawless, possess neither virtue nor wisdom, disregard nature's laws, and create unlimited strife and suffering. As divine punishments are always sure, they will not escape theirs. Woe unto selfish and egoistical people, for they are heartless, ignore laws and rules, and destroy nature. They will face painful consequences. Woe unto those people who practice psychic powers and preach supernatural power and magical arts, for they are only concerned with spirits, deities, fortunes, and disasters. They break rules, talk wildly at will, and guide people down evil paths. They deviate from natural rules and principles. They sin greatly. Do not envy and yearn for capitalism. It invites its own destruction inevitably. Do not envy and yearn for socialism. Much deceit, injustice, and lies are within it, and its road is impassable. Light the divine lamp within your souls. Never do evil when encountering hardships and tribulations, but always continue with kindness. For it is only in this way that you can escape from your troubles and leave your suffering and disasters. Each of you has your own soul garden. You need to de-weed it and cut the poisonous grass from it as soon as possible, and then import the flowers of virtue. Cultivate and fertilize them well so that you will gradually step into the new era after the disasters have ended. Never run around blindly, for no place is absolutely safe. The key to saving yourself is inside yourself, for you can never outrun your shadow. As time is running out, do not let the excess of disinformation on the web and in the media devour your last chance, but search for life-related issues quickly. Follow the instructions laid out by saints and sages and venture to climb toward the ideal realm that mankind has dreamed of. The beauty of the future era is beyond belief. I have prepared the road for new era humans, which is the way of the greatest creator and the road of life genuine. We hope that you will avoid the disasters and step into our new era.
谁能经营好夫妻生活？
Who can manage a marriage well? Shuefin, December 31st, 2018. Translated by Chinyu and edited by Care. Everyone wants to manage their marriage well. They want to grow old together with their childhood sweethearts, respect, support, and love each other until they die, and be compliant and loving until the end. But try to answer this question. How many people across all times and countries can actually do this? Can emperors or presidents? Can billionaires? Can powerful and influential high officials and dignitaries? Can literary talents, experts, professors, or stars of entertainment? Can even ordinary workers manage them well? The answer is that no one can manage their marriage well. Even saints cannot do it. What is the ideal marriage? A happy marriage requires that there are never arguments or quarrels, no hurting words towards each other, mutual trust without suspicion, that neither will keep private money or even consider sexual relations with anyone else, and that both will treat their parents, parents-in-law, uncles, other in-laws, more distant relatives, friends, colleagues, neighbors, and children equally well and with the same spirit, heart, and courtesy, and without disagreements. Each respects and has much love for the other, and they never have any kind of cold war with verbal or emotional violence, let alone physical violence. The wife never attempts to control the husband by crying, misbehaving, or threatening to harm herself, and the husband never swears, curses, or threatens to harm his wife. When either is unhappy, the other takes good care of them and comforts them lovingly. They were not born on the same day, but they hope to die together in each other's arms. May I ask what husband or wife can do this? Stop fantasizing because there are none. They only exist in fiction novels. Question: where is the problem? Answer: it is in human nature. Human nature is inherently selfish, so knowing that, how could you hope to find such a thing in real life? The most complicated and difficult relationships in the world are those between married couples. If it is not a good match, then there will be no equality. If they are not in the same realm, then there will be no mutual understanding. If they do not make a perfect match, then it is inevitable that one will cheat on the other. If one of them is not enthusiastic about the other's career or hobbies, then they will not resonate in harmony. The relationships between married couples are not simply ones between two people. Rather, they involve all aspects of life. Unless a couple occupies an environment in which they are isolated from the world and rich in food, the war between them, whether obvious or secretive, superficial or deep, will only stop when death brings their relationship to a close. People all yearn for freedom, but as long as you are in a marital relationship, that will never happen. Will people be free if they earn more money? Will an official be free if they rise to higher ranks? Will a performer be free if they become famous? Will people be free if they escape to a foreign country? No, 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 and no. So stop cheating yourselves and each other. Your superficial tenderness cannot hide your heart's eagerness, and your superficial smiles cannot cover up your heart's bitter tears. People need to end marital relationships now. Then how are people to live without marital relationships while still satisfying their needs for spiritual, emotional, and physical intimacy? Blessed are we because it is for this reason that the ideal life mode which humans have dreamed of for thousands of years has finally arrived. It is the new oasis for life, the second home, mode created by Life Genuine. After nearly 10 years of exploration and experimentation, we have found that this mode can not only solve all the problems that all couples have faced and confronted, but also lead lives toward a rich and beautiful world of happiness, joy, freedom, and blessing. The problem which has not been solved for thousands of years finally has been, now. Discard your fantasies and troubles and start to move toward Life Genuine's new oasis for life. Come closer, closer still. Do not try to change your husband or wife. Do not try to know and understand them thoroughly. Stop making unnecessary efforts, but try to build the new oasis for life wholeheartedly. Plunge into the life of the new oasis for life. This is the most rational choice for a better life. I hope that you can enter the new oasis for life, originally the second home, soon and experience the real joy of being human. Only then will you truly understand what human life can be.
人生每一次际遇都是一场考试。
Each encounter in life is an exam. Xiefeng, March 14th, 2019. Translated by Chinyu and edited by Care. Gods are watching from just above your head. A whisper in the mortal world is like a rumble of thunder in heaven. Evil that is done secretly is as recognizable to the greatest creator as a flash of lightning in your eyes. My body has carried my soul in this world for more than 60 years, and I have experienced much during that time. Since my mission to create Life Genuine began, I have made careful observations of everyone whom I encountered. It should be said that I am searching carefully for those who can go to heaven. To be honest, less than 1/100% can do this. That is to say, only 1 in 10,000 people can go to heaven. I have discovered many mysteries from my practice of reaping ripe crops. With every encounter in life is an exam, being one of them. After staring at every person I met, genuine celestials and others, I understood that the greatest creator is staring at every life being in the universe and that all things and persons who anyone encounters are exams for them. If one passes an exam, then they will move on to the next one. If they fail it, then they must continue in this incarnation for another exam. If they fail to pass the exams for a millennium, then they will reincarnate for a millennium. If they fail them for 10 millennia, then they will reincarnate for 10 millennia. The will of the greatest creator cannot be violated, but the human mind is unpredictable. Human minds can be good and evil because human souls are unpredictable and inconclusive. The only way is to set up tens of thousands of exams, and they will be your experiences in life. When you meet someone, how you treat them is an exam. When you encounter an event, how to deal with it is an exam. Whatever we encounter, even if it is facing a bug, a beggar, or a social activity, it is actually an exam. What people do not realize is that there are people who have always been staring at us, recording our merits and demerits. Even if you drift to a desert island, are an emperor sitting upon your throne, are in prison, or are talking to yourself, there are people staring at you, and you cannot escape the eyes of these people. I am speaking of the divine punishment, though slow, are always sure philosophy. Knowing this, I now realize that life is like walking on thin ice or on a tightrope because you can only be considered a spiritual self-cultivator and have the opportunity to go to heaven when you understand this. Without understanding it, no matter how well educated you are, how rich in wisdom you are, how many merits you have accumulated, or even if you have self-cultivated for tens of thousands of years, you can only be a mere human and can never reach heaven. The content of the exam is set by Tao, is very simple, and anyone can get passing scores. I will give 8 examples here. Someone sang or danced for you, so you clapped your hands and passed the exam. Had you been indifferent, you would have failed it. You dropped some food on the dinner table, so you picked it up, ate it, and passed the exam. Had you wasted it, you would have failed it. Someone cooked a meal for you, gave you their seat, praised and encouraged you, or helped you, so you thanked them and passed the exam. Had you not, you would have failed it. You encountered a tortoise while driving on the road, so you stopped the car and let the tortoise pass first and passed the exam. Had you just rolled over it, you would have failed it. You saw a beggar passing by and gave alms and passed the exam. Had you ignored them, you would have failed it. You met a lost person, so you patiently pointed the way to them and passed the exam. Had you ignored them, you would have failed it. You saw rubbish, so you cleaned it up and passed the exam. Had you turned a blind eye to it and left it there, you would have failed it. You caused inconvenience to others, so you apologized and passed the exam. Had you not apologized, you would have failed it. There are thousands of examples like this, and we should never think that any of them are unimportant. During my lifetime of dealing with people, I have found that most people's reactions cannot pass all of their exams. For example, a doctor speaks fine words, but when they have the opportunity to help a patient, they might avoid it. I often give likes to people who post on their WeChat moments, but they never give likes to the articles that I share. Hollow valleys echo, dead valleys are silent. If you read our 800 values for new era human beings, you are asked to contribute $1. The fact is that even if it is not a million people, at least 100,000 people have read the values, but fewer than 10 people have paid these dollars throughout the past 10 years. This is the overall credit of a nation. A few days ago, I posted the article, "An amorous heart is the most true heart," in a WeChat group. As a result, the group owner immediately warned me to delete it. The owner failed the exam. Someone applied to add me on WeChat. I accepted and welcomed them, but they ignored my welcome. Some people speak very piously, but they completely ignore what you say. Someone came to me with a vow but left with neither a sound nor a trace, so I deleted them from my contact list. Deleted means gone, disappeared, dead. We are dead in each other's minds. Back to the point, no matter who we are, we experience many people and many things every day. Every encounter is an exam, and Tao is always our judge. Our future is determined by the results of our exams. The greatest creator has never abandoned anyone. He has been arranging encounters to save us. Once, twice, 10 times, thousands of times, he never gives up. We should not expect to enter heaven by passing only a single exam. What we need is to pass every exam, all of them. A failure of any exam will inevitably bring you back for a re-examination. We cannot have fluky minds. Tao's test is absolutely scientific, rigorous, meticulous, practical, and realistic. You are bound to encounter setbacks if you try to muddle through its exams by luck.
我执越重离地狱越近。
The more stubborn one is, the closer they are to hell. Xiefeng, June 4th, 2019. Translated by Yu and edited by Care. Signs of hell include more troubles, sorrow, pain, and fear, with less freedom, joy, happiness, and blessing, and two unobstructed roads lead there. One is found by entering into an exclusive romantic and sexual relationship such as marriage, and the other is maintaining stubborn self-persistence. As long as you believe that you are always right, then you will definitely find your path to hell. Whether you are a president, a billionaire, a celebrity, a master, an expert, a scholar, or an ordinary self-involved person, clinging stubbornly to your views, opinions, values, measures, approaches, methods, conclusions, judgments, and so forth are always right and true proves that you are on your way to hell and that you are also bringing others along with you. This is an observation that I have drawn from history and through the current situation of humankind, which is based on the countless accumulation of facts. This observation and conclusion can be verified by everyone. Of course, my observation and conclusion are not necessarily correct because the complexity of life is unimaginable. The astronomical number of possibilities permutated and combined by 64 basic factors cannot be seen through or straightened out by human thinking, and it is even more difficult to study. Whoever believes that they are right is proving precisely their foolishness, ignorance, stupidity, stubbornness, and irrationality. Therefore, we must never again dare to think that our own opinions are always right or dare to judge others. As a result, our hearts are brightened. We need to stay away from those who insist that they are right in everything, regardless of whether they are a president, a master, a scholar, or expert in any field, and we therefore have to be humble. We have to look up to Christ Jesus, Buddha Shakyamuni, and Saint Lao Tzu instead of researching and exploring on our own. It is better to follow the teachings of these three. Today I learned that I, the founder and guide of Life Genuine, am very ignorant. Do you dare to say that you are right? Do you still want to stick to your opinion? You bastard.
生命禅院已为人类进入新时代铺好了路。
Life Genuine has paved the path into the new era of humanity. Dayform Buddha, June 26, 2019. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. In the following decade or so, climate change will lead to unending occurrences of droughts, floods, hailstorms, hurricanes, insect calamities, earthquakes, extreme weather, pestilence, and other disastrous events that will turn hundreds of millions of people into refugees, and famines will abound. In order to compete for limited essential resources such as food and water, people will engage in savage struggles which will cause social unrest and instability. The government functions of the United Nations and all countries will fail. Governments will no longer be able to control any part of the situation. Fear and despair will spread everywhere, and people will not see any kind of bright recovery. It is estimated that within the next 30 years or so, the global population will be reduced to less than half. Minor changes occur gradually, but major ones happen instantaneously. After these great changes occur, even the most powerful empires will collapse and disappear forever. The United States, China, Russia, Germany, Japan, France, and many others will cease to exist. Most electricity will be off, communications will be unavailable, and the world will be in chaos. Authority will not exist, religious organizations will do their best, but will be so scattered and disconnected that they will be powerless. There will be no way to save mankind. The occurrences of all these things will not only be caused by the script arrangement of the grand adjustment of the universal life, but also by the state of consciousness of humans. To be sure, it is the consciousness of recent generations that has brought on these changes, and now this trend can no longer be reversed, and we have to face the reality of what will happen soon. In order to deal with these great changes and guide the rest people into the millennium, Xie Feng, who created Life Genuine, began to make theoretical preparations in 2002 and has been practicing them since 2009. Now, the theoretical and practical preparations are ready and are laid out in Chanyuan Corpus and Xiefeng Corpus, and their essence has been condensed into the third edition of 800 Values for New Era Human Beings. The practice is the new oasis of life, the original second home, which was created by Life Genuine with the new production and life mode for humans. The main purpose for releasing this message is to attract the attention of modern, living sages and ring alarm to them so that they will not feel panic or act blindly when it happens. At the same time, I hope that everyone will begin to follow the lead of Life Genuine and to plan in advance so as not to mess up and regret their poor decision for the rest of their lives. 10 years later, there will be 256 branches of the new oasis of life throughout the world which will serve as an arc in the new era. The new order of production and life for humanity will expand outward from these branches of the new oasis of life to the rest of the world. Humanity will begin to lead a brand new existence, regardless of race, ethnicity, nationality, or religion, and from both the rich and the poor. The whole world will be as one family. People will live in the millennium era that humans have dreamed of for generations, in which the worthy person will utilize their talents fully. No one will keep lost articles found on the roadside, and homes will not need to be locked at night. And everyone will lead happy, joyous, free, and blessed lives. Life Genuine has established an NPO called the International Big Family in British Columbia, Canada, and also another branch in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Those who are willing to enter the new oasis of life in advance can contact us to visit either. You are welcome to visit and explore here for more details and information about Life Genuine's values and the new production and life mode, with the precondition that you must be a sage, neither mortal nor laity, and certainly not an ignorant person. Whether or not the above is a deceitful lie depends on your judgment based on your spirituality, but to be sure, it is impossible to draw a conclusion by logical reasoning and intelligent analysis. It would be better if the developing changes of the world would be different than the above scenario. I would prefer that Life Genuine become notorious for this wrong prediction than that the great changes occur in the world, because no one wants such a tragic catastrophe to happen. As for the broad masses of people, listen to it or not as you like. You can just regard this message as a joke to laugh at and ridicule over dinner.
在意报仇雪恨，
A further discussion of revenge. Xiefeng, June 28, 2019. Translated by Yu and edited by Care. Each of you has a good understanding and attitude toward revenge. Having read your posts, I can see that you understand Chanyuan values well. As a new achiever of immortality, you must not have desires for revenge, let alone the motive or behavior for it. Because the world is faultless, all faults lie within us. If the outside world makes us uncomfortable, suppresses, and deceives us, or insults and deprives us of our freedom or property, then these are all our own faults and the root is still within us. From the law of causality, all effects originate from causes. The effect fruit that we eat, whether it is sweet or bitter, is caused by our own planting the cause. Therefore, revenge is tantamount to contending one's self. It is resisting the fruit that you deserve. The debt that should have been repaid will continue to cycle because of your revenge. On the road of self-improvement and self-cultivation to heaven, we need to place our lives into the hands of the greatest creator and give our lives to the management of Tao. Since we believe in Tao, we can just work hard towards the beautiful destination of truth, kindness, beauty, love, faith, and sincerity, and leave everything else to its arrangement and management. For enmity or hatred, we swallow, digest, and expel it. As for what punishment an enemy should receive, it is not our business, but rather that of Tao. How will Tao treat that enemy? We do not need to know. We only need to believe firmly that Tao is fair and will not favor anyone. We also realize that the sum of all positive and negative energy of the universe is zero. That is, what you give and what you gain always balance. Being humiliated, wronged, suppressed, and exploited are forms of giving because since you have paid something, you will surely gain something else. As to what you will gain, Tao has its own arrangements and methods. Your gain may be health and longevity, auspiciousness and smoothness, adequate food and clothing, turning a misfortune into a blessing, or perhaps even going to heaven. In short, you will not give something for nothing, and of course you will not gain anything without paying something for it. So do not take revenge. Jesus taught us to take up our own cross and follow him. This cross is our suffering, grievances, and hatred. If we take revenge, it is equivalent to dropping the cross instead of carrying it. This runs counter to Christ's teachings. Buddha Shakyamuni also taught us that if people are despised for reciting the Diamond Sutra, then not only can their sins from previous lives be eliminated, but they can end their samsara by attaining supreme enlightenment and the state of spiritual immortality. Despised here means being bullied, which gives rise to hatred. If we take revenge, it is the equivalent of throwing away the benefits that we have obtained because of being despised and spoiling our fortunes and blessings, so it is never a good deal. Lao Tzu's teachings are that sages put themselves last, find themselves in foremost places, regard their bodies as incidental, and their lives are therefore preserved. Favor and disgrace cause our dismay. What we value and what we fear are within ourselves. We have fears because we have selves. When we do not regard the self as a self, then what do we have to fear? These imply that we should not avenge our hatred because we can only live if we do not take revenge, and can only be free from harm if we become selfless. So, is revenge wrong? No. Revenge is a punishment, but punishments and rewards are cosmic properties. Those who should be punished must be punished or justice would not be served. If one planted the cause of suffering, then they must bear its bitter fruit. If they made others bleed, then they must be made to bleed. If they killed others, then they must also be deprived of their life. As you have been measuring others, so shall you be measured. Now we need to know who has the authority to take revenge. Revenge should be executed by the universe's reward and punishment system, that is, Tao. How does Tao take revenge? If all humans do too much evil, then they will be punished with extinction. If some humans do too much evil, then they will be punished by large-scale catastrophes. If individual humans do too much evil, then gods and Buddha will punish them. Individuals who are wicked will punish each other. People have no right to take revenge on each other, and Chanyuan celestials have no authority to punish anyone. Revenge is a great good. Buddha asked, if I do not go to hell, then who will? And why to save those who are in distress? How does one save those who are in distress? One way is to take revenge to punish the wicked. If evil cannot be contained and the wicked cannot be punished, then the so-called save those who are in distress is just empty talk. That is, Wu Gang cuts the sweet-scented osmanthus tree and Sisyphus pushes the stone up the mountain, which will never happen. Why should we worry about going to hell? Because taking revenge can lead easily to that. Since Buddha has attained supreme enlightenment and has reached the state of non-self, of course, for the sake of all beings, he is not afraid of going to hell. Therefore, Buddha can take revenge. Also, gods have the authority to take revenge and punish evil. If anyone becomes a god, then they can take revenge. So we can see the following phenomenon. One of great virtue does not claim virtue. One of great mercy does not flash mercy. One of great benevolence does not appear benevolent. One with great faith seems devoid of faith. Knowing the above principles, we can see a person's future, a nation's future, and humankind's future. At the same time, we can understand the principles and root causes of the natural and social disasters that occur on Earth every day. Only in this way can we observe the world with a cold eye, watch current events calmly, and be extraordinary, reborn, and reach the celestial islands without premature death. Based on these principles, ask yourself the following 5 questions. Why did Ming Chunzu implicate Feng Xiaoru's whole clan? Why did Li Zicheng's soldiers punish the descendants of Zhu Yuanzhang wherever they went? All those who live in the prince's palace, whose surname is Zhu, whether obedient or disobedient and whether military or civilian, must be killed. Why did Hitler kill millions of Jews? Why did the Chinese communists severely crack down on the landlords, rich peasants, counter-revolutionaries, bad elements, bourgeois, and capitalists? Why did Mao Zedong want to get rid of all types of evil people? What will happen in the next few years? Who will suffer? Those who do not plan for the long term will see their short-term plans fail. Those who do not plan for general situations are not good enough for specific situations.
在意报仇雪恨，
A further discussion of revenge. Xiefeng, June 28, 2019. Translated by Chinyu and edited by Care. Each of you has a good understanding and attitude toward revenge. Having read your posts, I can see that you understand Chanyuan values well. As a new achiever of immortality, you must not have desires for revenge, let alone the motive or behavior for it. Because the world is faultless, all faults lie within us. If the outside world makes us uncomfortable, suppresses, and deceives us, or insults and deprives us of our freedom or property, then these are all our own faults and the root is still within us. From the law of causality, all effects originate from causes. The effect fruit that we eat, whether it is sweet or bitter, is caused by our own planting the cause. Therefore, revenge is tantamount to contending one's self. It is resisting the fruit that you deserve. The debt that should have been repaid will continue to cycle because of your revenge. On the road of self-improvement and self-cultivation to heaven, we need to place our lives into the hands of the greatest creator and give our lives to the management of Tao. Since we believe in Tao, we can just work hard towards the beautiful destination of truth, kindness, beauty, love, faith, and sincerity, and leave everything else to its arrangement and management. For enmity or hatred, we swallow, digest, and expel it. As for what punishment an enemy should receive, it is not our business, but rather that of Tao. How will Tao treat that enemy? We do not need to know. We only need to believe firmly that Tao is fair and will not favor anyone. We also realize that the sum of all positive and negative energy of the universe is zero. That is, what you give and what you gain always balance. Being humiliated, wronged, suppressed, and exploited are forms of giving because since you have paid something, you will surely gain something else. As to what you will gain, Tao has its own arrangements and methods. Your gain may be health and longevity, auspiciousness and smoothness, adequate food and clothing, turning a misfortune into a blessing, or perhaps even going to heaven. In short, you will not give something for nothing, and of course you will not gain anything without paying something for it. so do not take revenge. Jesus taught us to take up our own cross and follow him. This cross is our suffering, grievances, and hatred. If we take revenge, it is equivalent to dropping the cross instead of carrying it. This runs counter to Christ's teachings. Buddha Shakyamuni also taught us that if people are despised for reciting the Diamond Sutra, then not only can their sins from previous lives be eliminated, but they can end their samsara by attaining supreme enlightenment and the state of spiritual immortality. Despised here means being bullied, which gives rise to hatred. If we take revenge, it is the equivalent of throwing away the benefits that we have obtained because of being despised and spoiling our fortunes and blessings, so it is never a good deal. Lao Tzu's teachings are that sages put themselves last, find themselves in foremost places, regard their bodies as incidental, and their lives are therefore preserved. Favor and disgrace cause our dismay. What we value and what we fear are within ourselves. We have fears because we have selves. When we do not regard the self as a self, then what do we have to fear? These imply that we should not avenge our hatred because we can only live if we do not take revenge, and can only be free from harm if we become selfless. So, is revenge wrong? No. Revenge is a punishment, but punishments and rewards are cosmic properties. Those who should be punished must be punished or justice would not be served. If one planted the cause of suffering, then they must bear its bitter fruit. If they made others bleed, then they must be made to bleed. If they killed others, then they must also be deprived of their life. As you have been measuring others, so shall you be measured. Now we need to know who has the authority to take revenge. Revenge should be executed by the universe's reward and punishment system, that is, Tao. How does Tao take revenge? If all humans do too much evil, then they will be punished with extinction. If some humans do too much evil, then they will be punished by large-scale catastrophes. If individual humans do too much evil, then gods and Buddha will punish them. Individuals who are wicked will punish each other. People have no right to take revenge on each other, and Chanyuan celestials have no authority to punish anyone. Revenge is a great good. Buddha asked, if I do not go to hell, then who will? And why? To save those who are in distress? How does one save those who are in distress? One way is to take revenge to punish the wicked. If evil cannot be contained and the wicked cannot be punished, then the so-called save those who are in distress is just empty talk. That is, Wu Gang cuts the sweet-scented osmanthus tree and Sisyphus pushes the stone up the mountain, which will never happen. Why should we worry about going to hell? Because taking revenge can lead easily to that. Since Buddha has attained supreme enlightenment and has reached the state of non-self, of course, for the sake of all beings, he is not afraid of going to hell. Therefore, Buddha can take revenge. Also, gods have the authority to take revenge and punish evil. If anyone becomes a god, then they can take revenge. So we can see the following phenomenon. One of great virtue does not claim virtue. One of great mercy does not flash mercy. One of great benevolence does not appear benevolent. One with great faith seems devoid of faith. Knowing the above principles, we can see a person's future, a nation's future, and humankind's future. At the same time, we can understand the principles and root causes of the natural and social disasters that occur on Earth every day. Only in this way can we observe the world with a cold eye, watch current events calmly, and be extraordinary, reborn, and reach the celestial islands without premature death. Based on these principles, ask yourself the following 5 questions. Why did Ming Chunzu implicate Feng Xiaoru's whole clan? Why did Li Zicheng's soldiers punish the descendants of Zhu Yuanzhang wherever they went? All those who live in the prince's palace, whose surname is Zhu, whether obedient or disobedient and whether military or civilian, must be killed. Why did Hitler kill millions of Jews? Why did the Chinese communists severely crack down on the landlords, rich peasants, counter-revolutionaries, bad elements, bourgeois, and capitalists? Why did Mao Zedong want to get rid of all types of evil people? What will happen in the next few years? Who will suffer? Those who do not plan for the long term will see their short-term plans fail. Those who do not plan for general situations are not good enough for specific situations.
人类社会发展趋势探索
Exploring the developmental trend of human society. Xiefeng. January 17th, 2020. Translated by Chinyu and edited by Care. It is not moral preaching but the advancement of science and technology that change human thinking and living conditions. The invention of steam engines in the 1860s changed the way that people traveled and dressed and brought about the appearance of ships, trains, and the international cotton textile and the steel industries. The invention of electrification in the 1870s brought electric lights, telephones, airplanes, and cars to people, which changed their life patterns. The inventions and innovations of atomic energy and microprocessor-based calculators in the middle 20th century not only brought people a new thinking mode, but also brought us into a new era, especially the scientific and technological revolution in electronic communication in the beginning of the 21st century, which accelerated the change of people's thinking and life patterns in all aspects. As for the moral preachings of Christianity, Buddhism, and Islam, it is the same today as it was 2 centuries after their founding prophets lived. The moral education of Confucianism in traditional Chinese culture is even more stretched. It has no effect on people's thinking and brings no effective changes to the way that people live. Mao Zedong's ideological and moral education, which was popular in China from the 1950s through the 1960s, not only failed to bring freedom and wealth to people, but it also cultivated countless hypocrites and corrupt officials. The facts have proven that the more emphasis that is placed on moral education, the worse people's living conditions become and the more cunning people's characters turn. While the more rapid the development of science and technology are, the more people's lifestyles and living standards improve for the better. Today, it is not moral education that changes people's thinking, behavior, and life patterns, but scientific revolutions and technological innovations such as computers, mobile phones, videos, and biotechnology. With continuously emerging new technologies such as artificial intelligence, big data, cloud computing, facial recognition, and so on, people's thinking will undergo revolutionary leaps, and people's traditional life patterns will be completely subverted. With mobile phones and other social media, who would still send love letters and family greetings through snail mail? With powerful cars, who is still willing to ride ox carts and carriages? With fast airplanes, who would still ride to faraway places on horseback? With GPS navigation systems, who wants to look for places on street maps? The invention and creation of science and technology force people to change their traditional lifestyles. It is not a question of whether we are willing to do this, but a matter of necessity. In addition to science and technology, the core factors that change people's ways of living and thinking, another major factor is institutions, systems, and programs. Different systems lead to different ways of thinking and living. For example, mainland China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Singapore are all Chinese, but their social styles are totally different due to their different systems. As far as their systems are concerned, the more open and free a system is, the more advantageous the development of its productive forces will be, the more vibrant the society is, the more active people's thinking becomes, and the better the people's living conditions become. While the more closed and conservative a system is, the less freedom it has, the more it hinders the development of productivity. The more lifeless it is, the lower people's degree of happiness is, the more rigid their thinking is, and the more ignorant the people remain. Let us compare the United States, Iran, Venezuela, and Zimbabwe. The United States was founded only 200 years ago, but its productive forces have flourished from the beginning through the present, and its society has unlimited vitality. This proves that its system is superior. Historically, the Persian kingdom once created a splendid civilization, but after the Ayatollahs took power in 1980, Iran embarked on an autocratic system that combines politics with religion, and they have declined since then. Venezuela used to be the wealthiest country in South America, but since Nicolas Maduro took over the supreme power of the country in 2013, he implemented an autocratic dictatorship and changed the country's operating system. And as a result, the country has gone from bad to worse and become the country with the most severe economic collapse and the worst national life in the world today. A country of just 32 million people has created 4 million refugees. This is how different systems produce different outcomes. Zimbabwe was once the granary of southern Africa and the most pleasant garden-like country in the world. But since they gained their independence in 1980, they have been governed by Robert Mugabe. As Mugabe became more conservative and authoritarian, the country's currency collapsed by 2009, and its people were becoming desperate. After analyzing the above factors, let us look at the developmental trend of human society. The current systems in China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, and several other countries will collapse. No matter how the autocratic systems are controlled, due to the massive emergence of computer networks and mobile phone communication videos, no matter how effectively their firewalls block people from receiving new information, the spread of information is unstoppable and people will become less and less tolerant of authoritarian rule. Market economies will replace all other forms of economic models. The movement of people will become freer and more frequent. The concept of hometown will only exist in people's minds, and that of where there is bread, there will be motherland will be deeply rooted in people's minds. Religion, culture, and nationality will gradually merge. Religion will go into decline, culture will develop toward the American style, and nationalist sentiment will fade. The concept of countries will gradually fade, a global government will appear, and people will move toward it. Various kinds of social and non-governmental organizations and teams will spring up like bamboo shoots after a rain, and they present social wonders of 100 flowers blooming in a variety of forms. Marriage, as one of the most ignorant phenomena in human society, will gradually disappear as the traditional nuclear family mode gradually disintegrates. People are more keen to rely on their emotions and live with folk collective production and life modes such as in Japan's Kanahana family. After experiencing great changes, turbulence, and integration, the world will move toward unity and countries will disappear completely. Eventually, the values of life genuine will be deeply rooted in people's hearts, and the new oasis for life mode created by life genuine will blossom everywhere. The above is only the developmental trend of human society as analyzed from the evolution of social factors. The inventions and creations of science and technology and the evolution of systems are not enough to constitute such huge social changes. Another extremely explosive factor that will also play a role is the vicissitudes which will be brought about by climate. Fires, floods, earthquakes, volcanoes, plagues, scorching heat, freezing cold, droughts, and similar disasters will be staged in turn and become more and more severe and harsh, which will force all of human society to move towards the Life-genuine era. This will be an objective law that does not evolve with people's subjective will. Let us wait and see.
天命论
The Theory of Destiny. Xiefeng. February 20th, 2020. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. Confucius said, "At 15 years old, I set my heart upon learning. At 30 years, I planted my feet firmly upon the ground. At 40, I no longer suffered from perplexities. At 50, I knew my destiny. At 60, I heard them with docile ears. At 70, I could follow the dictates of my own heart, for what I desired no longer overstepped the boundaries of right." Knowing one's destiny? What is destiny? Destiny is the mission bestowed upon us by the greatest creator. Or we can say, destiny is our inherent talent and fate. Then how can we know our destiny? The smartest and wisest people in Chinese history are Jiang Ziya, Zhang Liang, and Zhuge Liang. Jiang Ziya's wisdom undoubtedly exceeded Zhou Wenwang's. Zhang Liang's must have surpassed Liu Bang's, and Zhuge Liang's must have surpassed Liu Bei's. But why did the former not replace the later and stand on their own as kings? Because they knew their destinies. They knew that their destinies were to assist, not to rule. Had the three of them attempted to become kings, they would have lost everything. Commanders-in-chief and generals are two completely different realms. Kings and counselors require completely different talents. Birds can soar in the sky, but once they fall into the water, they will not only be defenseless, but they might even drown. Lu Bowen, Li Chunfeng, Yuan Tiangang, and many others were godlike persons who knew the vicissitudes of the previous millennia. So why did Lu Bowen, Li Chunfeng, and Yuan Tiangang still kowtow to the feet of Zhu Yuanzhang and Li Shimin? Because they all knew their destinies. Peach trees can only bear peaches, apricot trees can only bear apricots, roosters can only crow, and hens can only lay eggs. These are their destinies. After reading all the books without words, you will find that everything is born, grows, is punished, and is finally exterminated by nature. Talents are born, not learned or cultivated. Those who are born to be thieves will definitely steal, and those born to be kings will gather talents. Destiny is not to be violated because whoever does so will have a bad life that is full of twists and turns. It can be seen from this that when everything goes wrong or when we encounter misfortune, it must be that we have acted against our destiny. If we can follow our destiny, our lives would be smooth. Therefore, when eating cornbread, eat happily. Do not envy other people's delicacies. When living in a thatched hut, do not be jealous of others' tall buildings and villas. It is easy to see others start businesses to generate income, but not so simple to germinate the idea to start your own business. Watching others become celebrities, do not imitate them blindly in any way. Finding others becoming spiritual leaders, do not engage in sneaky and furtive activity dealing with spirits and deities or fortunes and disasters yourself and expect to be seen as Jesus or the Ziwei Saint or Maitreya Buddha coming again. Be yourself. If you like farming, then farm honestly. If you like teaching, then teach diligently. Do not follow others because by knowing what you can do, you will be knowing and following your destiny. I would like to introduce my own process of knowing my destiny. I discovered very early that people with the Zhang surname can neither succeed in official careers nor become successful in financial ones. If a Zhang follows an official career, they will develop a bad reputation, and if they go into a financial career, they will become impoverished. However, the Jade Emperor's surname was Zhang, which proves that I can become a saint. Knowing this, I must enter neither an official career nor a financial profession. There are too many things that I cannot do because I am not cut for them. The only thing that I can succeed in is to become an immortal saint, but I will never become a god, let alone a king. At the same time, I found out that I must not accumulate material wealth. The less I own, the more I can use my talents. The emptier I am, the more spiritual I am. Leading people toward heaven, I can do. Leading people to run businesses to make money, I cannot. Leading people to change dynasties or become heroes, I definitely cannot do. In the end, I found that I cannot do much of anything very well, even if I try my hardest, but I can do service work. I can serve others, to be servants of others. This I can do well. I can be a first-class servant. It is easy for me to deliver everyone to the fairy world. I am very capable of serving people to enjoy the fun in life and life. That is the communist life. Among other things, I am a big idiot. How about you? What is your destiny? Young people will not know it, but even Confucius knew his destiny at 50. It is very difficult to know one's destiny without experiencing the torture of life, without reading the books without words, and without often trying to figure out the world. Are you familiar with Zhou Enlai, a key figure in the history of modern China? He died well because he knew his destiny. Zhou Enlai never visited Liu Bang's tomb, but he did visit Zhang Liang's tomb. This could have saved his life. Otherwise, he might have suffered Liu Shaoqi and Lin Biao's ending. The core of the theory of destiny is to be yourself, and you must never deliberately plan anything.
天命论
The Theory of Destiny. Xiefeng. February 20th, 2020. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. Confucius said, "At 15 years old, I set my heart upon learning. At 30 years, I planted my feet firmly upon the ground. At 40, I no longer suffered from perplexities. At 50, I knew my destiny. At 60, I heard them with docile ears. At 70, I could follow the dictates of my own heart, for what I desired no longer overstepped the boundaries of right." Knowing one's destiny? What is destiny? Destiny is the mission bestowed upon us by the greatest creator. Or we can say, destiny is our inherent talent and fate. Then how can we know our destiny? The smartest and wisest people in Chinese history are Jiang Ziya, Zhang Liang, and Zhuge Liang. Jiang Ziya's wisdom undoubtedly exceeded Zhou Wenwang's. Zhang Liang's must have surpassed Liu Bang's, and Zhuge Liang's must have surpassed Liu Bei's. But why did the former not replace the later and stand on their own as kings? Because they knew their destinies. They knew that their destinies were to assist, not to rule. Had the three of them attempted to become kings, they would have lost everything. Commanders-in-chief and generals are two completely different realms. Kings and counselors require completely different talents. Birds can soar in the sky, But once they fall into the water, they will not only be defenseless, but they might even drown. Lu Bowen, Li Chunfeng, Yuan Tiangang, and many others were godlike persons who knew the vicissitudes of the previous millennia. So why did Lu Bowen, Li Chunfeng, and Yuan Tiangang still kowtow to the feet of Zhu Yuanzhang and Li Shimin? Because they all knew their destinies. Peach trees can only bear peaches, apricot trees can only bear apricots, roosters can only crow, and hens can only lay eggs. These are their destinies. After reading all the books without words, you will find that everything is born, grows, is punished, and is finally exterminated by nature. Talents are born, not learned or cultivated. Those who are born to be thieves will definitely steal, and those born to be kings will gather talents. Destiny is not to be violated because whoever does so will have a bad life that is full of twists and turns. It can be seen from this that when everything goes wrong or when we encounter misfortune, it must be that we have acted against our destiny. If we can follow our destiny, our lives would be smooth. Therefore, when eating cornbread, eat happily. Do not envy other people's delicacies. When living in a thatched hut, do not be jealous of others' tall buildings and villas. It is easy to see others start businesses to generate income, but not so simple to germinate the idea to start your own business. Watching others become celebrities, do not imitate them blindly in any way. Finding others becoming spiritual leaders, do not engage in sneaky and furtive activity dealing with spirits and deities or fortunes and disasters yourself and expect to be seen as Jesus or the Ziwei Saint or Maitreya Buddha coming again. Be yourself. If you like farming, then farm honestly. If you like teaching, then teach diligently. Do not follow others because by knowing what you can do, you will be knowing and following your destiny. I would like to introduce my own process of knowing my destiny. I discovered very early that people with the Zhang surname can neither succeed in official careers nor become successful in financial ones. If a Zhang follows an official career, they will develop a bad reputation, and if they go into a financial career, they will become impoverished. However, the Jade Emperor's surname was Zhang, which proves that I can become a saint. Knowing this, I must enter neither an official career nor a financial profession. There are too many things that I cannot do because I am not cut for them. The only thing that I can succeed in is to become an immortal saint, but I will never become a god, let alone a king. At the same time, I found out that I must not accumulate material wealth. The less I own, the more I can use my talents. The emptier I am, the more spiritual I am. Leading people toward heaven, I can do. Leading people to run businesses to make money, I cannot. Leading people to change dynasties or become heroes, I definitely cannot do. In the end, I found that I cannot do much of anything very well, even if I try my hardest, but I can do service work. I can serve others, to be servants of others. This I can do well. I can be a first-class servant. It is easy for me to deliver everyone to the fairy world. I am very capable of serving people to enjoy the fun in life and life. That is the communist life. Among other things, I am a big idiot. How about you? What is your destiny? Young people will not know it, but even Confucius knew his destiny at 50. It is very difficult to know one's destiny without experiencing the torture of life, without reading the books without words, and without often trying to figure out the world. Are you familiar with Zhou Enlai, a key figure in the history of modern China? He died well because he knew his destiny. Zhou Enlai never visited Liu Bang's tomb, but he did visit Zhang Liang's tomb. This could have saved his life. Otherwise, he might have suffered Liu Shaoqi and Lin Biao's ending. The core of the theory of destiny is to be yourself, and you must never deliberately plan anything.
向传统开炮。一，家里人都是仇人。
Fire at traditions. 1. All family members are enemies. Xiefeng, March 22nd, 2020. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Care. Matthew 10 verse 36 in the Bible recorded Jesus Christ's warning that everyone's worst foes shall be from their own households. He also spoke clearly that I have come not to send peace, but a sword, for I have come to turn sons against their fathers, daughters against their mothers, and in-laws against each other. Anyone who loves their father or mother more than me and anyone who loves their son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. In John 14 verse 36, Jesus Christ tells us clearly, I am the way, the truth, and life. I, Xiefeng, am the incarnation of Jesus Christ in this age, and am here to bear witness to his teachings. I am proclaiming to the world that what he said is true. I have come to implement his words. Let children leave their parents, and let parents leave their children. I want to complete his final words and take the children who have left their parents and the parents who have left their children all into the kingdom of the greatest Creator. Relatives in the traditional sense are actually enemies. They are a resistance to heaven and the path to hell. Everyone who maintains traditional marriages and family relations is an assistant to the king of the devil. Every kind of preaching that maintains traditional marriages and families is the devil's preaching. All praises of marriages and families are harmful. Parents have kidnapped their children for millennia in the name of love. Parents always treat their children as private property by preventing them from following the lives they would choose. Parents always impose their will on their children regardless of their children's feelings and whether they know it or not. Parents always rely on their children for care in their old age. Parents always impose their unfulfilled wishes on their children and hope to realize their wishes through them. Parents always blame their incompetence on their children. Parents always control their children with promises and threats. Across thousands of years, from ancient times to modernity, both in China and abroad, history is bitter and filled with blood and tears, and it was personally brewed and written with praise for marriages and families with parents and children. If these relationships do not disintegrate, then the sea of human suffering will continue boundlessly. Not only will it remain as such, but in this kind of civilization, humankind will face disasters or even extinction. Success leads to success and failure leads to failure. 5,000 years of human history is a history of failures, and repeating them will not bring success. It is only by thoroughly formatting all failed programs that we can usher in a beautiful and happy era for humankind. Marriages and families are the pots for boiling frogs in warm water. Everyone in it is ultimately boiled to the animal world and hell. No one who lives in them all his life can reach heaven. If Xiefeng was just discrediting the bitter and bloody program of marriages and families without pointing to a more ideal and better direction and building a more perfect new program, then he would be a destroyer, not a builder. I would be a devil, and those words of Jesus Christ could neither be proven nor disproven. Those who are parents, please do not scold me so quickly. Those who maintain marriages and families, please calm down first. Children who love their parents, please do not deny me so quickly. I have created a new program for humankind that has no marriages or families. This new program is the kingdom of the greatest creator. People living in this program will testify that it is thousands of times more beautiful than traditional marriages and families. If you have not lived in it deeply, then it will be impossible for you to imagine. But the facts are there, and we cannot help but face the truth. Of course, I know clearly that the traditional program is very powerful and the people who fight against this new one have great power to destroy it. But this is not my concern. My business is its construction, and if you want to destroy it, that is your business. I just use the facts to prove to mankind that what Jesus Christ said is completely correct. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. By following his teachings, all of humankind can enter into the kingdom of the greatest creator and enjoy beautiful lives for 1,000 years. Not only that, but most people can enter heaven. Believe it or not, you can choose for yourself. Those who believe it are blessed, but those who do not believe it will witness the results for themselves.
向传统开炮。二，夫妻是最丑陋的关系。
Firing at traditions. 2. Marriages make the ugliest relationships. Xiefeng, March 24th, 2020. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. The ancient Chinese had long studied life through and declared that husbands and wives are opponents. What is an opponent? An enemy. The ancient Chinese showed wisdom when they said that it is better for opponents to untie than to tie up. What did they mean by that? They meant that two opponents should not unite. That is, they should not marry and become couples. Not to tie up means not to join together. Anyone who accidentally forms a couple should untie, divorce, ASAP. To untie means to dissolve the partnership, to untie the rope that binds both parties, and to let both parties fly freely. Among the various relationships in society, The worst and the ugliest ones are those between husbands and wives. The most trouble and pain in people's lives come from their marital partners. Domestic violence does, and so do cold wars. The worst complaints are those between married couples, and the mutual torture between them is also the worst. Once a person is married, they fall into an abyss of misery which lasts for the remainder of their union. When an angel marries, they become a devil. When a saint marries, they become laity or mortal. 90% of married men wear green hats, feel betrayed. Is this not painful? 90% of married women lose their desirability after marriage. Is this not annoying? Chinese culture was created by God. Just look at the Chinese character, Huan, and you can understand everything. Near means woman and Huan means confused. A woman gets confused and gets married. Jiehun means to marry, and it is clear that when a man unites with a confused woman, he also become confused. There is a saying that a wife is not as good as a concubine, and a concubine is not as good as stolen love. These words reveal the secret of secular life. If a man has a wife and a concubine, then he will definitely prefer his concubine. But even if he has 3 wives and 4 concubines, he would still want to steal love. Why? Because the stolen love tastes exceptionally delicious and is fascinating, irritating, and yearning. So why not steal it? Only a fool would not want to steal some love. Lechery is not a crime and stealing love is not theft. So why not steal some love? Even if you do not steal any, you still think about it. Come on, admit it. Even if you cannot sleep at night, lose your appetite, and become haggard, you will still be restless and ready to take action. Once opportunity knocks, you will definitely take action even if it means walking the wire or even dying for it. This is reality and people have to face it. For thousands of years, this reality has not changed at all. No matter how fancy someone's moral preaching is, how harsh their legal precepts are, or how people talk about them, even if their body would be smashed into pieces and their family would be disrespected for 10,000 years, there would still be an endless stream of them who will cheat on love. Since this is the truth of human nature in the mortal world, why should we avoid it? Why not just accept the truth? Husbands of the world, why even dream of stopping your wife from cheating on you? Wives of the world, why even fancy stopping your husband from cheating on you? Even if you could have controlled your spouse from cheating on you before, this is the age of mobile phones with internet access where people can cheat on anyone at any time. Can you watch and guard them all the time? No way. No guarding, defending, threatening, or tempting can stop the flood of cheating. If a wife does not cheat, then she must not be sexy enough. And if a husband does not cheat, then he must not be charming enough. Never believe that people with power and money do not cheat. The richer and more powerful they are, the more they cheat. Do not expect your partner to not cheat on you because you are as beautiful as a flower in a jade setting or handsome and debonair. A handsome husband is not as good as a stolen fool, and no matter how beautiful a wife is, she is not as good as a stolen lascivious woman. A man who has been married for many years will tell you that his wife is the most annoying woman in his life. And a woman who has been married as long will tell you that she was blind on the altar. The fact is that no one is wrong. What is wrong is entering into the boundless sea of bitterness, the marriage program. Would Buddha Shakyamuni have become Buddha if he had not escaped from his marriage? Would Lao Tse have become a celestial if he had ridden a green bull out of the pass with his own yellow-faced wife? Would he have become Lord Lao Tse? Would King of Yin Dynasty, Zhou's kingdom have been overthrown if Jiang Ziya had a wife next to him to direct him as he was helping Zhou Wenwang and Zhou Wuwang to win their battles? Would Christopher Columbus have discovered the New World if he had loved a wife who loved him equally? When I was a child, seeing new couples at weddings made me feel green with envy. Now, I feel pity for them because I know what they are in for. When I was a child and saw a man with his wife, I felt that he was very imposing. Now, I feel as if I am looking at a ghost. When I was a child and saw a woman with her husband, I felt that she was very happy. Now, she reminds me of a frog in a well. In fact, all couples live in pain, though on the surface they pretend to be very happy. In their hearts, they ask each other, "Why are you still alive?" But then they verbalize, "You are my favorite." People are so deceptive and such good performers. Even more strange is that some couples have never had more than a few days of happiness in their entire lives. They know that entering into marriage and becoming a couple was the worst mistake in their lives, but they still force their children to follow their own painful paths. It is an obvious fire pit, but they force their children to jump into it. How cruel do you think such parents are? Are there any real people in this world? I have thought it over and over again, but could not figure it out. Finally, I can only say that all parents who force their children to marry must have been kicked in their heads by donkeys or even camels. Either their minds are flooded, some nerves in their brains short-circuited, or they were fed the wrong drug when they were born. There is no other explanation. Then, if you do not get married and do not have a romantic partner, where will you go? The most ideal and most beautiful way out is in our garden, the new oasis for life created by Life Genuine.
人类从新冠病毒疫情中应当明白这8个道理。
Humans should understand these 8 truths from the COVID-19 pandemic. Xiefeng, May 20th, 2020. Translated by Chinyu and edited by Care. Let us look first at some natural changes that have occurred during the pandemic, and then we will see what we should conclude from them. You might want to research the following news items on the internet to see what has happened. The virus has healed the earth. The contrast of aerial photos from before and after the lockdown of the cities is amazing. Satellite data show that China's air quality has improved significantly. The air quality comparison chart under the global pandemic is conclusive. An Italian city was closed for 2 weeks and satellite views of it found amazing changes. Due to the outbreak, the number of tourists has plummeted and the canals in Venice, Italy have cleared nicely. Miami's water became clear, global carbon dioxide emissions dropped, mountain lions appeared in cities, and the earth began to restart. Residents of Punjab, India could see the Himalayas, 201 kilometers away in early April for the first time in nearly 30 years. India ordered a nationwide blockade at the end of March and found that the Ganges River had cleaned itself. Since the outbreak of the pandemic, the global blockade has slowed people's activities. As a result, all-round changes have taken place on the Earth. The 8 examples above are enough to make us understand the 8 truths below. Atmospheric pollution, turbid rivers, reduced marine life, soil acidification, salinization, reduction of animals and plants, climate warming, ecological crises, and more are all caused by human activities, and humans must reverse them. There are too many people on the earth and we should reduce our uncontrolled growth. Regardless of race, ethnicity, or country, population development should be controlled within Mother Nature's tolerance. The national policies and human activities dominated by the developed economies are biased. Economic development must be in line with Mother Nature's annual productivity, and we cannot ask too much from her. Otherwise, she who nurtures us will get sick and lose her temper. People's food, clothing, shelters, traveling, aging, sickness, and death are all consuming natural resources. The more people possess, the more they damage the earth and the more sins they commit. The more people enjoy, the more they abuse and ravage the earth and the more sins they commit. Once anything's development goes to the extreme, it will inevitably be contained. The only way to avoid containment is to maintain harmony and balance among all things. Human nature has both a good side and an evil one. Capitalism and the market economy model conform to the evil side of human nature, that is, the greedy side. Greed leads to evil, which leads to ecological imbalance and ecological disaster. These facts tell us that there is something wrong with traditional values and the production and life mode of humans, and that this value and mode is the source of the virus. How do we solve the above 8 problems? In order to let people live happy and peaceful lives without anxiety or fear, to make society harmonious, and to restore nature to its original purity and cleanliness, I am fully prepared in both theory and practice. The theory is called Chanyuan values. The practice is called the New Oasis for Life. I have lived in Asia for decades, Africa for 17 years, North America for 3 years, with primitive tribes in Oceania for a few months, with Christians for 3 years, with Muslims for 3 years, had deep contact with Hindus, subtle contact with Buddhists and Taoists, understood Western spiritual culture, Osho's thoughts, and earnestly studied and explored Marxist theories, so I understand that people's needs are at the bottom in the minds of rich bosses. Therefore, My theory and practice are suitable for the interests of humankind as a whole, as well as to meet everyone's wishes. I hope that people will think about it deeply. Again, without changing humanity's traditional production and life modes, our suffering will continue endlessly, and not only will we be punished by nature, but the future will never be bright.
人人都自带新冠病毒。
Everybody carries the COVID-19 virus. Xiefeng, June 16th, 2020. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. As the COVID-19 pandemic keeps spreading throughout the world, all countries continue their efforts to avoid it out of fear that they might catch it, and wearing masks has become a main method of preventing its spread. I would like to inform everyone that these external preventive measures, including wearing surgical masks, will not work. Whether people will be infected by the virus or not depends completely on the 8 chi that they possess. That is to say that those who are supposed to catch the disease, even if they remain fully insulated, will get sick, but those who are not supposed to get it, even if they bathe in water that is fully contaminated with the virus, will not. My viewpoint is supported by the following 3 theories. Holographic theory. According to cosmic holographic theory, even while latent, all subsystems contain all the information of their systems and all the information of the universe. Any subsystem is a microcosm of its system and therefore a microcosm of the universe. A medical doctor can order a blood test from one drop of our blood, and all the information about our bodies can be determined from that single drop. Through that test data, the doctor can determine what diseases we have because every cell of the body contains all the information about the body. This is the cosmic holographic theory. It can be concluded that once the COVID-19 virus came into existence, everyone in the world became infected with it, and this has nothing to do with their location or whether they have guarded against it. Those who deny this deny cosmic holography. The truth of Buddhism. One flower, one world, one leaf, one Bodhi. The Buddha said, everyone owns Buddha nature. All humans can become Buddha. The truth of Buddhism shows that human self-nature owns everything. Self-nature can generate all Dharma, and all Dharma is generated from self-nature. This tells us that each of us has both the most beauty in the world and the most ugliness in the world. We can also infer logically that everyone owns a devil's nature and a beast's nature. Whether people achieve Buddhahood or fall to a demonic level depends on their self-nature. Therefore, it can be concluded that whether we become infected by the virus or not depends on our self-nature, not on our preventive measures such as wearing masks. If one thinks that someone is infected by exposure to someone else, it shows that they do not understand the truth of Buddhism. The principle of causation. All dharma is a void except karma. If one wants to understand their past lives, then they should study what they receive in this life. The principle of causation tells us that reality is only the projection of one's consciousness. One suffers because they have ever sinned. One is blessed and can live at ease and comfort because they have accumulated merits and virtues. You reap what you have sown. Those who take baths often and wash their clothes regularly will not get lice, but those who do not do so will acquire them. The birth and spread of COVID-19 needs to meet certain conditions, so whether one gets infected and sick depends on whether they meet those conditions. If they meet them, then they will become infected and get sick, but if they do not meet them, then they will not get sick even if they become immersed with them. I have written more than 260 articles over the last 17 years as warnings to the world which have been disseminated across the internet. The current state of the today's world and sceneries of a future world have been heralded clearly by them. Although it is too late for mankind to turn the corner, the laws and principles of life and life do work at all times. I want mankind to know that the only way to escape from your current crisis, but to walk the propitious path, is to change your traditional mode of production in life, and that the way for individuals to escape from this crisis and to lead blessed lives is to take the way of the greatest creator and follow the road of life genuine. If you think that I am wrong and that you are right, then just follow your own path and you will find out.
邪恶家园大魔头至中国反邪教网。
The great demon of the evil homeland replies to China's anti-cult network. Xiefeng, July 30th, 2021. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. Fighters of China's anti-cult network. First of all, if you feel that you are doing right and are confident in your actions, then do not delete or block my article here. If you are scared, then delete it or block it. You have been a great help because your video, The Home of Evil, has expanded Life Chanuan's influence, which is exactly what I have been looking for. As for whether or not people believe your video's content, you know that in today's China, it is everyone's tacit understanding. Nowadays, only mindless people still believe the messages published by governments at your level. After watching your video, I can see that you have put much work into it, but also that it is still rough and that your understanding needs refinement. You said that you rescued believers who had been directed remotely by Zhang Zifan, Xiefeng. But this is inconsistent with the facts. One of your insiders sent me some photos of your process of rescuing my followers. In one of them, a female Chanyuan Celestial's hands were tied behind her back with a rope, and she was squatting on the ground with a police officer holding a pistol against the back of her head in the same way that Japanese devils shot and killed Chinese compatriots during the War of Resistance against Japanese aggression. Is this what you called rescue? I still have the photo. You posted a few photos of me in the video which we had taken while playing games. You deliberately selected those photos to vilify me and to scare my potential sisters-in-law away. That was unscrupulous of you. The biggest shortcoming of the video upon which you worked so hard is that there were no voices of any Chanyuan Celestials. It is a failure. In fact, the biggest blow to Life Chanuan and Xiefeng should be Chanyuan Celestials exposing my ugly deeds, which would have been much more convincing. It is lacking that you did not do that. Wang Gang, who appears in the video, is the son of Foci Celestial. His performance in the video was simply that of a respectful son. But what is the truth? You should allow his mother Foci to talk about it. Why would an elderly woman in her 80s not be with her son, but with the demon, Xiefeng? People with normal thinking ability will come up with something, right? We have a lot of evidence to prove why the elderly woman would rather die outside than live with her son. Is it evil for Xiefeng's homeland to take in 80-year-olds and allow them to live comfortable lives? I used to think that evil meant not showing filial piety to the elderly, but now it seems that showing filial piety to the elderly is evil. Thank you for showing me the true meaning of evil. Wang Gang said that Xiefeng asked his mother to bring her salary card over and end her relationship with the family. You should show evidence of this occurrence because without any, what you said is just slander. Will people believe it? Saying that your mother took her savings, ran away from home, and that you then lost contact with her is simply one big lie. Does telling such a lie mean that you have forgotten about the time that your wife and you visited Life Chanuan? The video said that I joined traditional Christianity, but have you any evidence of this? Of course not, because you made all this up. You know that I am the messenger of the greatest creator, Jesus Christ, Buddha Shakyamuni, the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, and the incarnation of Celestial Laozi, but you think that this has all been made up by me, right? Is it not strange that one dares to claim himself as such but can still have a clear mind for 20 years? Is it not abnormal? This is not something that anyone can claim for themselves casually. If you do not believe me, you can try doing it yourself. If anyone claims to be such, it would take less than 1 year for them to go insane and die. If you do not believe me, try it yourself. Now suppose, what if Zhang Zifan's claim is true? If so, then your sins are surely not small. You said that our two places in Guizhou are secretly established bases under the cover of cooperative, comprehensive development projects. Excuse me, but are we also engaged in any illegal activities or any other than those stipulated in our contract? If so, please provide evidence. You said that the most important of Xiefeng's fallacies is that Chanyuan Celestials must hand in all their property. Please provide evidence of this. In which article did I write this? On what occasion did I say it? Please provide material evidence and testimonies of witnesses. Lu Chong is the husband of Xianin Celestial and appears in the video. You said that Xianin Celestial sold all of her family property behind Lu Chong's back and dedicated all his hundreds of thousands of RMB yuan to Life Chanuan. But are the facts really as Lu Chong claims? Lu Chong is addicted to gambling. Not only did he gamble away their pig farm, which they had worked so hard to build, but he also lost their house, driving the family into bankruptcy and unable to pay off some usurers from whom he had borrowed money. He hid outside all day, and his wife had no choice but to beg to come to Life Chanuan home. His wife had not sold their property behind his back and donated hundreds of thousands of RMB yuan to Life Genuine because she had nothing and even needed to purchase the train ticket with the pocket money her daughter gave her to travel from her former farm to Life Genuine. You have provided false testimony. I wonder if this is a crime in jurisprudence. I guess you need to study the law more seriously. Lu Chang said that he weighed nearly 75 kilograms when he was with his wife, but that his weight had dropped to 45 kilograms after she left. What does this fact show? With his wife supporting him, he was obese, but with his wife no longer taking care of him, he became underweight. Who can afford to support a man like this? You said that Life Genuine is an illegal organization. So we asked your public security officer why you felt that way? The officer said that Life Genuine was never registered. I ask you, must an organization register in order to be legal? Was the great, glorious, and correct Communist Party of China organization registered with the nationalist government of that time when it ruled China? If not, then according to you, the CPC has always been an illegal organization? Besides, Life Genuine is an international family which has been registered with the Canadian government. Can it not be counted as registered? Regarding Xiefeng's pronouncement that family members are enemies, this was a warning from Jesus Christ. Do you dare to say that Jesus Christ was wrong? Leaving home, this is the guidance and example of Buddha Sakyamuni. Do you dare to say Sakyamuni was wrong? You keep saying that Xiefeng's claims are fallacies and heresies. I have 800 values. Do you have enough wisdom and ability to refute any of them? You only need to challenge a few of them. If you cannot refute any of them, then how can it be called a fallacy? In view of this, it is not surprising that you call filial piety evil and the theory of truth fallacious. I will not comment on Li Yutian in the video, but he and his wife divorced voluntarily in 2009. At that time, their two children had grown up and his wife had left him without taking a penny from their family. The video said that his wife left him to live in Life Genuine community, but the community had not yet existed at the time of their divorce, so it would be nonsense to say that she came to us at that time. His wife's father died 7 years after they divorced, but you said that it happened only a few days after she left? In order to achieve your goals, lies can be made up like this only because the government is in league with liars. Is this what the government does? You also said that his wife's father died from lung cancer because his wife left him. Is there any scientific evidence that this can happen? According to Li Yutian, his wife's departure caused her father to get lung cancer, and he passed away within a few days. I ask, can lung cancer really kill anyone within only a few days of acquiring it? Is it not ridiculous to make lies like this up? Is this how the government collects evidence to prove that Life Genuine is evil? In fact, this has nothing to do with Life Genuine. The number of divorcees in the world is increasing and many people are not marrying. Are all of these changes caused by Life Genuine? Of course not. I advocate that as long as two parties are willing to, they can maintain emotional relations for a long time. What is wrong with this in terms of ethics and jurisprudence? Is it not allowed for them to keep long-term emotional relationships if they are consensual? You said that some of our game photos which you showed in your video were described as being intolerable to the eye. Do you really think so? Then how do you feel about the large number of pornographic pictures on the regular internet? You think our homeland life is immoral, right? Your public security officers raided our home at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning many times, forced their way into our rooms, checked in our cabinets and under our beds. Did they ever find a man and a woman sleeping together? Never. Based on your realm, you can never imagine that Chanyuan celestials like to talk and laugh. But in our home, we mostly like to live quietly and alone. We pursue the joy of non-material souls, not that of flesh. Based on your cognitive abilities, this realm is extremely difficult for you to imagine, and you will not be able to understand it even if you live for 500 years. Peng Jinlai, who is shown in your video, stayed in the Chanyuan home for only 5 or 6 days. During that period, he wanted to be intimate with a female Chanyuan celestial, but she rejected him. For this, he hated the home and left immediately, and he also wanted his wife and daughter to leave with him. In your video, it was reversed. He was falsely accusing the female Chanyuan celestial of seducing him. This man lied at every step. When Peng Jinlai's wife became a Chanyuan celestial, she had difficulty walking because of surgery on her legs. In 2020, She was brought to the new oasis for life of Life Ichanuan to recover because she was unable to walk, and a dedicated specialist had been assigned to take care of her during her recuperation. I ask you, if she had been sent home, would that not have added trouble to Peng Jinlai? Not only did Peng Jinlai not appreciate the Life Ichanuan home, but he spread rumors and framed us. Would you agree that what he did goes against basic human morality? You said that my homeland is a mental cancer that endangers the masses. Please read carefully the Chanyuan Corpus, Siefeng Corpus, and the 800 values for New Era humans. This huge theoretical system is in line with the teachings of Jesus Christ, Buddha Shakyamuni, Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, Immortal Laozi, the sages of the past, and Marx's theoretical communism. You seem to regard the teachings of gods, Buddhas, and immortals as mental cancers. So what your spiritual medicine might be? You said that through careful investigations, you had found various evidence of violations in the homeland. What are they in accordance with China's constitution and laws? If you cannot show the evidence of our violations to society, have you committed the crime of perjury? You said that all our believers were successfully rescued with no mistakes. But how could there have been no mistakes with nearly 100 people? Did you say that Xiefeng asked the Chanyuan Celestials to commit collective suicide? If I live, the home will exist. If the home perishes, I will die? From your video, can you tell any clues of Chanyuan Celestials wanting to die by committing suicide? Is there one Chanyuan Celestial resisting? Let me tell you that Chanyuan Celestials are the most civilized group of well-educated people in the world, and that none of them would do anything extreme. You have suppressed Life Ichanuan for 8 years and destroyed our homes a dozen times. But has even one Chanyuan Celestial confronted anyone or done anything extreme? There were no mistakes in your process of smashing us. This was not because of how thorough and detailed your plan was, but because the quality of Chanyuan Celestials determined that they would not respond in any uncivilized manner. You said that Chanyuan Celestials cannot get prompt medical treatment and that they suffer from diseases in Life Ichanuan. You are really good at fabricating and framing. The home regards every Chanyuan Celestial as a family relative. Once anyone feels uncomfortable, we immediately arrange for them to go to a hospital to be examined and treated, and we have never delayed anyone's timely treatment. During any Chanyuan Celestial's hospitalization, we provide at least 4 people to take care of them 24 hours each day. Do you not see it or know it? The care that the home delivers to every Chanyuan Celestial during their illness cannot be offered by ordinary families or social groups. Would you like to compare theirs against ours? The home's care and education for children are all-encompassing. To know the quality of a fruit tree, just look at it. We have raised more than a dozen children in our home. Why do you not let the kids tell their stories? As for the 13-year-old Zhao Mingming mentioned in your video, he is not running around the yard all day, as you described, and delaying his studies. The child's terminally ill mother arranged for her child to enter our home in order to secure a good future for him. Soon after his entering the homeland, his mother passed away. The homeland took care of all her funeral affairs. When the child's mother was critically ill, we promptly notified the child's grandmother and uncle who came to inspect how we managed her funeral affairs. As for the child, his grandmother and uncle both agreed that the homeland is good and wanted the child to stay here. We then arranged for the child to go to the local school in time. Is this not true? How can you alter and despise the true facts? Is it not true that the detained child shown in your video was still wearing the uniform of the Hope Primary School in Rongguang Town? Didn't you take the child away from that school? How can you say that we had delayed the child's studies? The alleged pennant sending in the video is very ridiculous. It showed that Su Dong, who was originally from Shaanxi, sent a pennant to the public security organization. The fact is that your officers customized the pennant in advance and then forced Su Dong to take a photo with the pennant. This is how pathetically you make yourselves look good. Just think about it. Relying on your brain capacity, knowledge, and spiritual quotient, is it possible for you to complete the deprogramming of Chanyuan Celestials in such a short period of time after my more than 10 years of patient and meticulous brainwashing? Are you qualified? Your so-called transformation is nothing more than threats, intimidation, and coercion, and then through blackening people's names, cutting off people's sources of life, and forcibly taking away their mobile phones, computers, ID cards, and passports for forced conversion. How is this fundamentally different from the ruffians, hooligans, gangsters, and bandits who put knives to people's throats and say, "Call me grandpa or I'll kill you"? Since April 28th, you took away the ID cards, mobile phones, and computers of many Chanyuan Celestials. Some of these objects have yet to be returned. Is this how you transformed Chanyuan Celestials? You said that the evil homeland created by Zhang Zifan was smashed in one stroke. Your memory is really bad. This is not smashed in one stroke. You started the smashing in one stroke 8 years ago in 2013. You have already smashed in 12 strokes. You gave us real trouble, but it is too early to conclude whether we were destroyed. Boundless grasses across the plain come and go with every season. Wildfires never quite consume them. They are tall once more in the spring wind. If you really have the ability to completely destroy us, then what you have to do is not to drive the Chanyuan Celestials from their dens, but you must subvert Xiefeng's entire theory. If you do not destroy my theory, then the home will never be destroyed. Not to say to smash it in one stroke. You cannot destroy it with 1,000 strokes, or even 10,000 strokes. Another way to destroy us is to control all foreign networks and block the 8 public websites of Life Genuine, especially social media platforms such as Facebook, Google, and YouTube. Otherwise, who will be destroyed in the end has not yet been settled. After reading the above, are you scared? If you are not scared, then do not delete my article so that the so-called righteous people can see the evil of the Chanyuan home and of Zhang Zifan. But if you do not delete it, will the good people who were deceived by you think you are evil instead? Who knows? Maybe. However, your deletion and blocking can only be limited to your sphere of influence. The world outside your sphere of influence is very vast, and I can continue to publish it in that vast world. Nowadays, there is a popular saying, you will have to pay it back sooner or later. The 12 homes of Life Genuine were each smashed in one stroke by you. Sooner or later, this account will be settled. On average, each home is calculated at 10 million RMB yuan, and the 12 homes were worth 120 million RMB yuan, according to the current market value. A murderer must pay with his life, and a debtor must pay his debt. It is an unalterable principle that the debts you owe must be repaid. You are not going to get away with this. Up to the highest height and down to deepest depth, even if you die, Chanyuan Celestials will trace you to the end. Before you pay off your debt, your soul will never rest in peace. If you do not believe me, just wait and see. We hope that you will realize your errors, mend your ways, and commit fewer sins.
将中国反邪教网钉上人类文明的耻辱柱。
China's anti-cult network is nailed to the pillar of shame of human civilization. Xiefeng, August 18th, 2021. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. What is China's anti-cult network? I had never heard of them before they vilified the name of the second home of Life Genuine as the evil homeland. I know that this group is a malignant tumor that grows on the body of human civilization, and if it is not eliminated, then human civilization will surely die from it. Therefore, starting from today, China's anti-cult network is nailed to the pillar of shame of human civilization. They, who reverse black and white, confuse right and wrong, spread rumors and slander, and fool the people, are a thorough anti-human and anti-civilization gang and an evil organization. As long as they exist, human civilization will suffer. The facts have proven that China's anti-cult network is a thorough cult organization, and what they fight against are just and bright religions. People who believe them should wake up and alert themselves. Anyone who bangs the drum for them is holding the candle for the devil, and their punishment has been scheduled. Therefore, the sooner you renounce this group, the better off you will be.
上帝出手了，答复一网友。
The greatest creator has taken action. My reply to a netizen. Xiefeng, August 18th, 2021. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. People ask why they suffer from innumerable disasters while the greatest creator does nothing. The simple answer is that he has already done a great deal. In early April of 2009, I posted that the catastrophe of 2012 would not happen but would be replaced by a stepwise, reciprocating, and increasingly serious pattern of natural and man-made disasters. Then, on August 1st of 2017, I once again warned that if mankind does not reevaluate their ways immediately and change their traditional modes of production and life, then not only is the entire natural ecology expected to collapse within 15 to 20 years, but that humanity will be at risk long before then. In order to save mankind, I compiled the 800 values for new era humans and set a new life model for people with the Chanyuan celestials of life Chanyuan. All this is equivalent to saying that the ship of life of the greatest creator has arrived and is calling everyone to embark quickly so that they can be kept safe. But how many have boarded this ship? I am telling you plainly that I am the messenger of the greatest creator and that I have come to harvest ripe crops and to create the life Chanyuan era for mankind. But after more than 10 years of my calling out, how many people have responded? Is this not the action of the greatest creator? If this is not his action, do you want he, himself to come and carry everyone to heaven? Are we worthy of his carrying? When Noah built his ark on the top of Mount Ararat, most people ridiculed and mocked him and took his call as the act of a lunatic. What was the result? People still indulged in dissipation in their own ways. 18 years ago, I called on people through the internet to hurry up and get on board this ship. I have been working hard, following the will of the greatest creator for 18 years, but what has the result been? Not only have very few people responded, but they destroyed the kingdom of the greatest creator, the second home of life Genuine, and called it the evil homeland. I ask you, has the greatest creator taken action? Have people listened? You called me a big liar and accused me of deceiving and cheating people for money and sex. But have I cheated anyone out of their money or tricked anyone into having sex with me over the last 18 years? Which of my thousands of articles is not telling the truth? Do you not believe me? Will you not listen to me? All right then, live by your truth and let us wait for the result. I have warned against plagues, fires, floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, hunger, extreme heat, extreme cold, social unrest, and so on. I have written more than 200 articles in my warning chapter alone. Do you not think so? Let us just wait and see. What happens next will not even leave you a chance to cry. Do not blame the greatest creator for not saving you. If you want to blame someone, then blame yourself for being too foolish, too arrogant, too proud, and too ignorant not to have him in your heart. Do not blame the gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and saints for not saving you. I am coming to save you by combining the incarnations of the messenger of the greatest creator with all the aforementioned, and my doing so is tantamount to their doing so. You refuse to listen, so why cast blame? When cows enter cowsheds, pigs enter pigpens, the devil collects demon grandchildren, celestials go to a celestial world, they are all just returning home.
中国人急需理解的18个观念。
18 values that Chinese people need to understand urgently. Xiefeng, August 18th, 2021. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. I am watching China heading toward purgatory, so I am warning everyone of their urgent need to understand the following 18 truths. With your understanding, there may be some room for reversal. Otherwise, there will only be wailing and regrets. It is not that U.S. imperialists want us to die, but that the West never gives up its hope of helping U.S. It is not that mainland China should liberate Taiwan, but that we should hope for Taiwan to liberate the mainland. Mao Zedong's thoughts will bring no happiness to the Chinese people, but only poverty and disasters. Our government is unreliable. The more you rely on it, the more you will suffer. Chinese government officials at all levels are failing to serve the people, but rather are oppressing and exploiting them. Programs are more reliable than moral preaching. We need more program construction and less moral preaching. Confucian culture is the root cause of China's inability to produce Nobel Prize winners. Xiefeng-style communism is the only way for the Chinese nation to achieve happiness. Confrontation with the United States is the path to death. Uniting a centralized country by marriage is the same as prostitution. The stronger the control becomes, the more cunning the people will become. Most common people's crimes are forced upon them by officials. Therefore, the common people are not guilty, but the officials are. All those who praise the heads of government and the ruling party are bastards. A government that does not allow freedom of speech should and must be abandoned. Why would anyone want or need such a government? there is no need for power, but there is for bread and freedom. There is no need for a country, but to live and work in peace and contentment. B. Where there is freedom, there is the best place for peaceful lives. C. Without freedom, you cannot live in peace. So for what do you want or need an unfree country? Small amounts of chicken soup for the soul and religious preaching are supplements, but large amounts of them are toxic and can poison people's minds. Those who are oppressed, bullied, and exploited, but do not resist, are tantamount to pigs or dogs. Therefore, they will only fight back when they are driven beyond the limits of their endurance.
最后时刻的警示。
My final warning. Dayform Buddha. September 2021. Translated by Chinyu and edited by Care. I have been preaching to the world for 18 years and have told everyone what to expect and which path they should follow. It is none of my business whether or not you should listen or follow. That is only yours. But as you face difficulties or even death, you cannot blame gods, Buddha, celestials, saints, or especially the greatest creator because the road has been shown to you, and you can only blame yourself if you do not choose to follow it. The great purification is about to begin, so I will give you some warnings now and I hope that they will protect you from disasters. Do not try to escape from predicaments and death because there is nowhere to hide. Just light up the sacred lamp in your heart, let the greatest creator enter your heart, and pray that the greatest creator will ease your pain and keep you safe. Abandon everything. Only embrace the greatest creator and allow him to flow into your blood, shine in your hair, give orders through your consciousness, and guide you when you are confused. Do not spend more time and energy on reading books with words. Read the books without words. Everything and all phenomena are the wars of the greatest creator. Changing phenomena show the greatest creator announcing his will and warnings to you. So please read his books. They have no words in them, only images and phenomena. When deserts flood, tropical lands have snow, cold lands are hot, and black swans arrive in incredible places, you should be aware that the great purification has begun and is underway. When the meteorite that will destroy mankind is spotted and something that you have never seen before appears in the sky, you should understand that the earth has guardian angels and managers who will have exhausted their endurance for humankind's destruction of nature. Their patience will have reached its limit, and they will be ready to act against humanity's evil. Stop worshiping gods, Buddha, celestial beings, saints, and great human leaders, and worship nature. Worship the sun, the moon, the stars, the earth, and its mountains, rivers, insects, grass, and trees. Worship all natural things because you will then be worshiping the greatest creator. Stop striving for money and material wealth because neither of them will save you. Even if you have hundreds of millions of dollars of assets, and even if you hide in the safest place, pox will appear spontaneously all over your body, both inside and out, and you will die from unbearable itching. Do not follow and defend power because it is the source of lies and falsehoods. If you follow it, you will be with the devil and end miserably. Do not look for a savior. Do not be deceived by people with apparently great supernatural powers because they are only illusions of the truth. Do not believe and follow any masters, angels, Christ, Buddha, immortals, or other similar figures who claim to be able to save you. They are clay bodhisattvas crossing the river people who cannot protect themselves. Following them will drop you into a pit and you will lose your chance of being saved. Do not listen to the myths of psychics. You do not know with what spirits they communicate, and that is the same as gambling. No secret of talking is good, and all sneaky things are shit, so be careful. Do not follow the masses. That is the road to confusion and enslavement. When all you see is death, you will suffer from extreme fear. So find 3 to 5 confidants in advance with whom to live and eat together and to help each other get through the sea of fear. Even when your hunger becomes intolerable and you are in extreme distress, neither steal nor rob, let alone harm other lives, but maintain the purity of your soul and the light of your life. Desperate trumpets will sound from all directions. It is only by lighting the sacred lamp within your heart and by firmly believing in the greatest creator, cause, and effect, and that you are walking on his way that you will be able to climb through your quagmire of despair. In the past, people could be saved and delivered from torment by showing kindness, compassion, and love. But now, Those three attributes can no longer save them. So the program to save nature has started, including those people who should be saved. Let the dead take care of the dead as you look up to the pure land. Do not stop your marching feet before you reach the pure land. If you die, you must die on your way to the pure land.
天下人朝着雪峰是共产主义道路走。
Walking towards Xiefeng-style communism. Dayform Buddha. January 21st, 2022. Xiefeng has paved the way to paradise for humanity, from theory to practice. It is called Xiefeng-style communism. Whether you are a president, a billionaire, a religious leader, a scholar, a professor, a worker, a farmer, a business person, or an entrepreneur, as long as you are a person, please march towards this goal. From the dawn of recorded history, there has never been a better production and life mode than what we have created. No one from a common laborer or lay person to a saint, an immortal, a Buddha, a god, or even the prophetic sage of China Ziwei will ever be able to create a better production and life mode than ours. No matter how the American-dominated Western countries strive to perfect their democratic social mechanisms, or how hard China tries to improve its, neither will ever be able to achieve as highly civilized a production and life mode as we have. Nor can the people of Latin America, Africa, or Oceania create a more ideal society than what we have accomplished. To all the people who have great ideas, please stop seeking and discussing how to create a better future for humankind. Xiefeng has planned and arranged everything. No matter how intelligent you might be, you are like the mythical blind people touching the various parts of an elephant. All of your theories, no matter how superb and correct you feel they might be, are like balloons full of pinholes next to ours. So please stop wasting your time and energy and put all your wisdom and talents into what we have developed and perfected. To all the people who are suffering and struggling, Xiefeng-style communism is the best way out for you, your children, and your grandchildren. Walk towards Xiefeng-style communism with a grateful heart and do not hesitate or look away. Dayform Buddha does not lie to you. To give everyone this warning is to save you and guide you toward a heavenly life. If you comply and follow it, then you will be blessed. But if you do not, then not only will poverty, ignorance, trouble, pain, and fear haunt you forever, but so will death. Do you not believe this? Let the facts answer for you. Whether people walk on the path to Xiefeng-style communism or not, society's future production and life mode will be Xiefeng-style communism, and there will never be a second version. So the earlier that you follow this path, the happier you will be. Do not wait until it is too late.
傲慢狂妄霸道独裁的雪峰告示。
Notice from the arrogant, proud, bossy, and autocratic Xiefeng. Dayform Buddha. September 21st, 2020. Translated by Chinyu and edited by Care. I have made a lot of friends on the web recently. To avoid consuming too much of each other's time and energy, I am hereby announcing the following.
Iam Dayform Bitha.
There are only two ways to react when you meet me. You can either follow me step by step, or if you think that you are wiser, you can follow the way that you think is right, and there will be no need to get acquainted with and make friends with me. I like dictatorships. You either surrender to me or follow your own path because I will never cooperate with or discuss nonsense with any of you. I believe that anyone who thinks that their cognitive abilities exceed those of Xiefeng and wants to direct him is ignorant. For thousands of years, apart from Jesus Christ, Buddha Shakyamuni, Celestial Laozi, and Prophet Muhammad, PPUH, no one in this world's cognitive ability has surpassed mine, Dayform Buddha, Xiefeng. Many of today's masters are only worthy of carrying my shoes. People like Osho, Krishnamurti, and Neil Donald Walsh, author of Dialogue with God, are probably worthy of serving my tea. I despise people who call themselves heavenly masters on the internet, even if they offer to wipe my ass. To my eyes, people are very different, and I can see them as clearly as they see pigs. I can distinguish who is fat from who is thin at a glance. In recent years, many enlightened masters and superiors have come and gone like mushrooms after rain falls. They teach scriptures everywhere. To tell you the truth, they are like farts in my nose. They are ignorant of time and space, know nothing about the essence of life, are mysterious and spooky all day, deceive the public, fool the people, and kill for money. Due to their limited cranial capacity, They think that they are masters of Taoism because they bamboozled a few fools. Some have even posed in front of me. It was so shameless because they never understood the immensity of heaven and earth. Shameless as they might as well have hit a blank wall. Some want me to accept everyone. Bullshit. I am not a trash can. Why should I accept everyone? Some want me to unite all those who can be united. Bullshit. I am not a politician. So why should I want to unite so many people? To seek power, usurp the throne, and become president? Do you think that Xiefeng wants to become president? Do you think that a deer wants to be a pig leader to reign over a group of pigs in a pig pen? Someone suggested that I learn from the spirit of the sea, asking, how did the great rivers and seas become the lords of the ravines? By being good at keeping low. Nonsense. I am the snow-covered peak who saw Mount Everest being good at keeping low? What about being good at keeping high? Many people have never even stepped out of their country, yet they ridicule foreigners' messages all day. They are like pigs in pigsties mocking lions and tigers outside. Extremely foolish. Chinese people have generally received neither the knowledge of the greatest creator nor that of being human, but they are daring to educate and guide others brazenly. They are benighted, ignorant bastards who pretend to be saints worthy of teaching others, but they are nothing but thick skins. People generally lack education and politeness, let alone other aspects. They add me on social media, but never like my posted contents. Are they educated and polite? Giving likes is not for the content, but just good etiquette to show respect for others and their good upbringing and self-cultivation. When they cannot even give likes, then they are lazier than pigs. What else can they do? Since they cannot give likes, why do they add me to their contacts? If they do not give likes but add many names to their contacts, then how are they different from thieves? Why are those who post advertisements with small images everywhere so idle? Either they are bored or they have no brains. But they have to understand that when they share piles of rubbish, it is a deprivation of other people's time and energy, disrespect for others, and a rape of other people's consciousnesses. So I have quit most of these groups. Many groups do not even share central themes, but are just big garbage dumps. For the laboring masses, for the hardworking and plain, honest people, there is only one bright way out. That is Xiefeng-style communism. All other roads are dead ends that lead to misery and abysses. Do not engage in those spiritual practices all day long, or those enlightenments, or in loving yourself, or upholding dharma, or being open to medians, or untying some made-up seal. Those are all tricks of self-deception designed to deceive honest people. On the other hand, if you feel happy and like having fun, just follow your innermost driving force.
雪峰狂傲的资格和本钱。
Xiefeng's pride of qualifications and capital. Xiefeng, September 21st, 2020. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. To be proud, one must have qualifications and capital, otherwise they are either neurotic or at least in some way, mentally ill. Xiefeng's pride of qualifications and capital are as follows. I have analyzed the three elements that make up the universe and unified Buddhism with science organically for the first time. These three elements are the universal unified field theory that scientists have been seeking diligently to obtain. This is something that can never be achieved by human thinking and wisdom. It is okay if you do not understand the mystery, but do not make noise, because I would never expect a donkey to understand it, but braying is very annoying. I have written nearly 110,000 characters to show people the birth process of the greatest creator, his characteristics, and his relationship to humankind, which provides a basis for us to understand him correctly. This is an unprecedented pioneering work. I have analyzed the principles and essence of life. This has never been done before and can never be done again. No one can surpass this analysis. If anyone thinks that they are better than me, just try to reanalyze it. I have created a new mode of production and life that has never been seen before in history. Xiefeng-style communism, the mode of production and life for the future. I have analyzed the nature of marriages and families. Although many people have studied them throughout history, their analyses cannot be compared to mine. I have interpreted the 8 forces of the universe for the first time. Scientists currently only recognize 4 of them. I have divided people into 5 categories according to their characteristics for the first time. Ignorant ones, lay people, mortals, sages, and celestials. These classifications make sense. Whoever wants to surpass me is invited to give it a try. I have described to people the 8 levels of thinking based on the characteristics of life for the first time, and have given detailed explanations. I have, for the first time in human history, guided nearly 80 people to become celestials, opening a path to celestial life for future generations. I have analyzed 20 parallel worlds and 36 dimensional spaces. There are many more qualifications and capitals worthy of my pride, but I will not describe them one by one over here. The above 10 are enough to make me proud, and anyone who is not convinced is invited to post their abilities online. I am really this proud, and in a few decades, humans will send me, Xiefeng, to the temple of God.
你所执着的将会成为你升华的障碍。
That which you cling to will become the obstacle to your sublimation. Xiefeng. September 24th, 2020. Translated by Care and edited by Care. If you walk unswervingly toward a great and bright goal, you will find that fewer and fewer people will remain with you. At first, there will be many people, but as you walk, they will thin out. Why does this happen? The reason is that they are blocked by stubbornness and become unable to continue. As long as you stay where you are, people will remain with you. But once you make a breakthrough, some people will part ways with you. To move toward a great goal, it is necessary to constantly break through your original cycles, your original concepts and cognitions, and your original values, ethics, outlooks on life, and worldviews. As you continue making breakthroughs, more people will part ways with you, so you will become more and more alone. And finally, even those who quarreled with you and scolded you will have disappeared. To change from one form to another, a person must break through their original self, their inherent cognition and thinking logic, which is like pupae metamorphosing into butterflies. Without breaking through their original cocoon of protection, no one can transform into a dancing butterfly. When a life thinks that it is right, then its transformation stops and can no longer sublimate. If it is a pig now, then it will always remain one and will never have any hope of becoming a person. Breakthroughs and transcendences are not only cognitive leaps, but also qualitative mutations. They are smelting rebirths, resurrections. They are processes of joy, also with pain, like thunderstorms and lightning, which are unbearable to the vast majority of people because inertia always pulls people back to their original positions. I have had classmates in all my levels of education as well as colleagues with whom I worked as playmates, friends, and lovers who now have almost all disappeared. Not because they have died, but because we no longer share anything in common and have no desire to get together. What interests them bores me, and what interests me bores them. So we drifted apart and disappeared over each other's event horizons. I have met many people online. At first, our friendships were as sweet as honey, but as we walked on, the tastes of our friendships changed from sweet to waxy. Then their images became more and more vague until they gradually disappeared from the screen of my memory. When people standing on the tops of mountains and people standing at the feet of mountains look at each other, they each feel that the others look very small. People who eat Manchu Han imperial banquets feel sorry for those who eat wild fruits in the forest, who in turn feel sad for those who eat Manchu Han imperial banquets. Different realms and different cognitive abilities create different feelings. The boy of Wu Zhuangguan, name of a Taoist temple, sent the Tang monk a first-class immortal genuine ginseng fruit with the shape of a baby, but the Tang monk not only refused to accept it, but also complained that the boy had tainted his compassion and Buddha heart by feeding him the baby. This scene was very ridiculous. Sometimes, from a word, a post, a look in a person's eyes, or an expression, one can know what another person is thinking, what they want to do, and what the result will be. No matter how one pretends or how they whitewash their thoughts and feelings, they cannot hide the state of their mind or the level of their soul. Sometimes, to know and understand a person, you do not need to listen to what they say or see what they do, because you can know their inner world from only the content that they post. Flies post shit, bees post honey. Who are the poor people? Those who cannot read this article, and those who do not give likes after reading it. The gate of heaven is always open for you. Can you not find it? Do you know why you cannot find it? Because the things that you cling to are obstructing your spiritual eyes, what you value, what you pursue, what you insist on, and what you maintain, just like high walls blocking your path, preventing you from getting out of the cave of the silken web. Are you complacent about your achievements and greatness? Please note that when flies find fresh shit, they feel as good as you do.
陨石被摧毁与生命残愿的关系。
The relationship between the destruction of the meteorite and life genuine. Xiefeng, October 6th, 2020. Translated by Yu and edited by Care. On February 15th, 2013 at 9:23 a.m., a meteorite with a diameter of about 17 meters and a weight of about 7,000 tons fell towards Russia's Chelyabinsk Oblast at a speed of Mach 54. At a distance of 24 kilometers above the ground, it was caught and violently smashed into and destroyed by a mysterious object at a speed exceeding that of the meteorite. If this meteorite had not been destroyed, the consequences would have been serious. According to scientists' calculations, the impact of the meteorite's explosion on the Earth would have been equivalent to 30 atomic bombs. Even more terrifying is that 100 kilometers from the place where the meteorite fell are Russia's Mayak nuclear fuel plants. Once the meteorite had hit the ground directly, it would have instantly destroyed all of Asia and perhaps even the world. Who made the mysterious object that crashed into the meteorite? Was it a missile made in Russia? No, the fastest missile in the world only has a speed of Mach 20, while the meteorite flew at Mach 54. No missile could have intersected that meteorite. So, who did it? Was it the military? Are you kidding me? Humans do not have that technology yet. I clearly stated in the Chanyuan corpus, before this meteorite was crushed, that the Earth is protected by super celestial beings. These powers who protect the Earth are in underwater pyramids beneath the Bermuda Triangle. There is a huge space beneath those pyramids which are as big as a medium-sized city. They observe and protect the Earth at all times and occasionally remotely control UFOs inside the moon to patrol the Earth, and they keep abreast of the dynamics of the Earth. Crop circles are information symbols that they record. The above-mentioned meteorite being crushed was done by the super celestial beings who protect the Earth. Do you still remember the strange car accident that happened to me? Do you remember the panic before 2012? I told you in early April 2009 that due to leaks, the catastrophe that people expected to occur in December 2012 would not occur, but instead would occur in reciprocating, circular, and increasingly serious ways until the Great Purification comes. Have the changes that have taken place on the Earth in the past 11 years not completely met my prediction? Do you know of Boriska, the Russian Martian? As soon as Life Genuine emerged, he came out within a week to support us, which prompted Shinha Celestial to write the prologue to Life Genuine. Soon after that, Boriska informed everyone that the great spiritual guide of mankind had been born in northwestern China. Do you not think that was too coincidental? Does anyone not think that this is a deliberate arrangement? Who else does not believe in Life Genuine? Many mysteries I cannot say, nor am I allowed to say, but I can tell you that the future era will be the era of Life Genuine, and that the future human production and life mode will be the new oasis for life mode created by Life Genuine. The dark forces have tried their best to obstruct this and they wanted to destroy it, but I can tell everyone that this cannot be done. And in the following 20 to 30 years, mankind will surely send Xiefeng to the altar. By the way, I want to warn all who engage in mysterious, spooky, furtive, and sneaky affairs that the universe knows what you are doing. In the future, everything will be done in the open. Stop it now, or you will regret it later. Everyone, hurry and infuse Life Genuine's values into your minds. Make haste to understand the new oasis for life mode. Hurry up to purify your hearts, and you may have a glimmer of life.
账总是要算的写在大灾变前夕。
The day of reckoning will come. Writings on the eve of the cataclysm. Xiefeng, November 27th, 2020. Translated by Yu and edited by Care. The sum of positive and negative energy in the universe is always zero. What you get and what you pay must be calculated. If you get more but pay less, then it is time to pay some back. If you cannot pay it back, then your life will be taken from you, and you will have to pay with it. Do not have a fluky mind. No one can run away. Wearing a mask is useless. Wearing armor is useless, and hiding below the ground is useless. Where there is air, there is balance, and where the sun shines, there are courts. Do not look everywhere for a savior. No savior can protect you. Only you can save yourself. Pick up a calculator to figure your own income and expenditure account and see if you are receiving more or paying more. If you are receiving more, then you need to spit it out. If you are paying more, do not worry, for your reward will come. The calculation is easy. Nature knows what you have gained from it and what you have done for it, and will forget neither. What you have gained from human society and what you have done for human society is clearly recorded in the detention information space. Your subconscious is clear of what you have gained from others and what you have done for others. Maybe no one else knows what you have done, but heaven, earth, God, and you all know it. Heaven has eyes, earth has eyes, and there are eyes throughout the universe. Nothing is concealable, including what you reflect and think in your heart. Remember, you cannot even hide what you think. If you say more and do less, even if what you say is true, you are just making a living with the truth. If more people are making a living with the truth, then ordinary people's lives will be even more difficult. The lives of ordinary people become more difficult, and those who talk a lot should take responsibility. Once a person opens their mouth, you will know what they are thinking about and what they are planning, and even if they speak nicely or even beautifully, their true intentions will not be concealed. People can say very beautiful things, and they can say a lot of things that reveal the truth, but if they cannot do them, then they are deceiving the world, stealing glory, and lying. There are two reasons for the occurrences of cataclysms. The first is that the plot of the program written into the story says that it is time to settle the accounts, and the second is the hope of the people. Those who suffer have long been looking forward to the occurrence and arrival of the cataclysm because only it can get them out of their predicaments. Three factors can alleviate this cataclysm. Elderly people must be allowed to spend their old age happily. Nature must be restored to its original purity, and the weather will be made favorable. Honest people should live and work in peace and contentment without being bullied and oppressed. You should rack your brains hard and forget about everything else. Because the Ziwei Saint, the second coming of Jesus, Maitreya Buddha descending into the world, and the appearance of the saint will do the three things above. First, if you concentrate hard, then the frequency of your consciousness will be the same as the above individuals, and you will be saved. The source of the suffering of the poor, and the way to their liberation. Xiefeng, February 5th, 2021. Translated by Chinyu and edited by Care. I am a poor man, so I know the source of poor people's suffering. Let us not talk about individual people's specific internal factors, but only their external factors. There are three main external factors that cause them to suffer. The first is harsh governance. The second is natural disasters, including diseases. And the third is mutual tormenting among the poor. Among the three factors above, mutual torturing among the poor is the main one. Or it can be said that at least 3/4 of their suffering comes from their mutual tormenting of each other. Who are the poor? Farmers, workers, peddlers, wage earners, migrant workers, public service personnel, cleaners, urban management officers, security guards, police officers, soldiers, teachers, and civil servants all fit the bill. It can also be said that except for very wealthy officials and intelligentsia from all walks of life along with scholars and celebrities, most others qualify. Mutual bullying of the poor is common throughout Chinese society. The poorer they are, the harder they bully each other, and the closer they are to the bottom of the social totem pole, the more cruelly they bully each other. Here are 8 examples. Urban management officers bullying peddlers. Police, even traffic police, setting obstacles. Security guards beating others. Thieves stealing the property of the poor. Civil servants are jealous of and suppress each other. Teachers lecturing and threatening their students' parents. Civil servants making things difficult for others. Soldiers killing other conscripted soldiers. Between relatives and friends, classmates and colleagues, neighbors, villages, locals and outsiders, the mutual torturing and bullying of these poor people are even more untold. The poor should pity and support each other as fellow sufferers, but the fact is that the poor are even crueler when they bully each other, and as long as their income and social status is just a little bit higher, and they have just a little bit more power than others, they will be cruel and merciless to those who are lower than them. They have no compassion at all and even less pity. For example, Urban management officers who were originally weak and poor, but then got a little bit of power bully peddlers mercilessly and even knock the elderly to the ground. How can this be? If the poor did not bully and torment each other, then no matter how severe the natural disasters and harsh governments became, they would not be able to make the poor feel desperate. If the poor did not bully the poor, then the world would become a paradise. How do we stop the poor from bullying the poor? Preaching is not very effective. Our ancestors preached that people must understand benevolence, justice, etiquette, wisdom, and trust, and they must care for each other and live harmoniously. Various religions teach people to self-discipline, fulfill their rights, be loving and conscientious, and not hurt each other. But what actually happens? For thousands of years, bullying between the poor and the poor has never ceased or even decreased, and endless incidents of the poor bullying the poor every day abound. So what is the problem? The problem lies in private ownership and in marriages and families. Everyone understands the truth, but the reality is that persecution is more severe than the truth. In the face of money and vital interests, moral preaching loses out overwhelmingly. Most choose interests over morals and conscience, and therefore it is only by dispelling people's anxieties and fears about food, clothing, shelter, birth, old age, safety, sickness, and death that bullying among the poor can be turned around. It would be absolutely impossible for any single teenager or young adult to not long for intimacy with someone of the opposite sex. The best cure for their lovesickness would be to provide them with accessibility. If you prevent them from connecting with someone for the affection that they require, but instead instill moral consciences into them and teach them about Buddhism and saints, it would be like seeking fish from trees. So, how do we eradicate the phenomenon of the poor bullying each other? Let them all enter into a communist society. There, this phenomenon would disappear. When people think of communism, they do so instinctively as either an impossible, utopian fantasy, or they denounce it as an evil spirit aligned with the devil. Today, few people on a global scale believe in communism because of all the slandering against it. Even very few of the so-called communists who swear to fight for it actually believe in it. They consider it to be just a slogan, a pretext, or an unrealistic ideal. They take an oath, but they have no intention in their own hearts of fighting for it. In China, suppressing our communist community, the new oasis for life created by Life Genuine, is the most obvious example. Is it not ironic that the Communist Party suppresses our communist community? True communism is not an unattainable ideal because it was realized in China long ago and has been in operation for 11 years. It is the new oasis for life, where everyone is poor, but the phenomenon of poor people bullying other poor people has disappeared because they are also wealthy beyond their dreams. And the more honest, sincere, and diligent the people are, the more they are respected and cared for, because everyone's food, clothing, shelter, transportation, birth, old age, sickness, and death concerns have been eliminated. So, why should anyone bully anyone else? They do not. In the new oasis for life, boys grow into responsible, masculine, and modest gentlemen, and girls develop into caring and tender gentlewomen. Children grow up happily, and the elderly enjoy their twilight years. It is thoroughly beautiful. My conclusion is that if the poor want to end their suffering and the tragedy of the poor bullying each other, then there is only one way to go, and that is to join our pure, communist society.
穷苦人的路。
The Way of the Poor. Xiefeng, February 6, 2021. Translated by Chinyu and edited by Care. I grew up in a poor family, so I am deeply aware of the sadness and helplessness of the poor. Now, I am over 60 years old and have gone through vicissitudes and hardships, so I have gathered some background perception and I am speaking out for the poor to think about them and as a reference. Let me first define what being poor is. Anyone who is accompanied by